The people who pressed on with that American creed, yes, we can.
Yes, together we will make America
better.
Welcome to the next episode of Unintelligent Intellectuals. We're actually on hiatus right now, and all I got for you is just a little mini clip of a family gathering to commemorate the holiday spirit. So listen to me and a couple of my family and friends talk shit. Here we go.
It's different. It's different universal laws that can't be changed, only manipulated.
And that's probably where I differ. I don't believe that. I think
it's not a belief.
I think everything has an answer.
Okay, but listen. Okay, that you have that's an opinion.
Yeah.
But there are foundational things that it just is what it is. You can have an opinion about it but it's just there. It is what it is.
Okay.
It can't be changed.
Okay, so to loop it all together, we're talking about like the creation or God in general and like in spirituality and how that all fits into like how we live day-to-day basis.
Right.
So it's like everyone has their own opinions, and full disclosure, I'm recording it because I think this is juicy shit.
Yes.
I don't know if we'll use it for anything, but I mean, like, hey, why the fuck not? And then we'll see what happens. but like,
Yeah.
and I'll vibe it off for you guys before I put anything out. But it's like, we're talking about like how these things all fit into the narrative. Like someone might have an opinion, and that opinion might be right or might be wrong. But it's like
Okay.
So I think it's important to like kind of explore like where we differ, where we strike similarities.
If you're dealing with a level of cause and effect, there's no such thing as right and wrong.
Okay.
It's just cause.
It just is.
And effect.
Yeah. It just exists. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That's when you get the universal laws and things like that. So, things are simply what they are.
Okay.
Okay. Most of us, we operate on survival at the end of the day.
Okay. I can
The core
understand.
concept, I believe we operate off of survival, but most stuff people say they have no control over, they have control over. It's really thinking kind of farther into what are you capable of. And this
Capability is the main thing. That's what changes things.
Okay. But like we could all like universally be like, hey, if you find
Competence.
well, like yeah, like if you find like even diving like more specific than that, like if you find a 2-year-old who's like looking for his mommy in the middle of the street, you're not gonna walk up to him and punch him in the face. Like we can universally say that's probably
of course.
that's probably a little wrong. So I'm
that's
like,
rare.
so
You might not even choose. You could be driving and see the 2-year-old. You might not even choose to pull over to see what's going on.
yeah, it's a little bit more nuanced. It's like
Because
so
cause
like,
and effect.
in that case,
What
like,
happens if you do pull over?
Right. Am I really going
It's
to
a
be able
child.
to make enough of an impact to be able to really help this child, or am I just setting him up for a more disappointing
Will
future?
the child have an impact on you?
Ooh, okay.
or more so would you leave a child?
Maybe somebody, it could be a whole, it could be, maybe somebody left that child there for a reason. It's almost bait.
And this is where it comes down to human experience that affects me. It's all about emotions and empatheticness or lack of empathetic nature. The truth be told, if you have a person lower in empathetic nature, and if they left the child and the child was about to be hurt, can you really say that person was wrong? No, they're technically not. They just don't feel the same level of emotion.
Well, that depends on the
This
circumstances
is
because we all have a level of empathy.
True.
I like calling it.
And it's
pussy.
like-
Even leaving, you can say it can be a woman that leaves a child on a doorstep or something because her life is messed up. That's actually empathetic. Did you know that?
yeah, I can
because
see that
she's
because
actually
from a
caring.
certain
She's
perspective.
thinking about
That
what
she
she
Oh, well,
can't
I
child is
can't.
with
I
her.
can't provide for him
She
the way
can't,
that, or I can't provide for the child
Then
the
maybe
way
they
that.
have a better chance. You see?
Without me, right.
And see, that's
Yeah.
where life gets confusing because then sometimes the child grows up thinking the mother never wanted them, and
That's
thinking
true.
it's so. It seems
Yeah, like
And
in-
so that's the cause and then the effect.
right.
Because the effect is that the child grows up and then realizes, oh wow, my mom left me somewhere.
Right.
So
No,
yeah, it has an
100%.
effect,
Yeah.
but it might not be a negative effect. It could be a positive effect. Maybe.
And I think that's great. Like, I mean, there's a story in the first book in the Bible, Genesis, when they're talking about all this jazz. But they talk about these two brothers, and one gets the grace from their father, and the other one doesn't. Blessing from the father, and the other one doesn't. and they're struggling through it. Anyways, fast forward generation later, one of them who has the grace has 12 sons. The 12th son he really likes him. He gives him a cool coat. And the other brothers are really jealous of him, and they treat him like shit. And they even like, oh, well, you know what? Let's kill him. It's like, you know what? We're not gonna kill him. We're just gonna sell him to these Egyptian traders or slave traders, whatever. And then it'll be out of our sight, and we'll pretend like he died. That way we don't kill him, but at the same time, he's out of our lives, and we're all Gucci. We're all good to go. So it's like, so they did
that's a cohort group.
Yeah. That's
but
that's,
you have an
that's
individual.
solid, right, exactly. So there's 10 brothers who are
That's
like
pretty
all
much a
for it.
sacrifice that they're doing there.
Yeah, there's 10 brothers who are all about it.
Or even casting them out.
Right. And there's one brother who's like, I'm not really about that, but all right, like he goes along with it. But then, so that's pretty fucking negative. We got all universally agree, like, hey,
negative.
you got 11 brothers and sisters, and or if you have 11 brothers and they treat you like shit.
Positive.
Yeah, because that's how the story ended up. It ended up like, okay, well, he ended up becoming the vizier of Egypt.
Well, not even for him. It's positive for the group.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So I was like, hey, it's a negative towards him, but it's a positive for us.
Yes, because that's a game for us. If we can get this guy out,
Yeah. That's a
cause
solid
and
point.
effect.
And they're looking at it that way. So they're just like, oh, well, we don't want to cause negativity. So they're not inherently evil. It's like they're doing like a temporarily bad thing to this one person, but it's good for 11 people. And that's like goes into those kind of questions where it's like, oh, well, if you do something that's good for 11 people and bad for one person, is it bad? Is it good? Like if you do something that's good for 11 million people, or if it's bad for one person, is it good or is it bad? Like, so that's a solid question.
Right.
So
and it's cause and effect.
Yeah, and we could explore that.
Not good or bad.
Yeah, but to finish the story, it's like, okay, well, like in this,
some things are better for the collective.
Yeah, and
I mean, it just you know.
Yeah, 100%. And I want to dive back into that, so I'm gonna put a little bookmark on that bad boy. But like, because that's interesting. I never thought about it that way. That's juicy. True. But to finish the story, it's like
most individuals are not thinking like that. They're not certain things are better for the collective.
Yeah, but move to with at least how the story ends. It's like the guy who's left behind, the brother that's left behind, ends up in this position that's beneficial to everybody else. Where it's like everybody else is starving and whatnot, and this guy has like a higher powered political position in Egypt. And he's talking about, all right, well, you guys are starving. Oh, yeah, you remember me? Yeah, I'm the vizier of this place, but actually, I'm your brother. And they're like, oh, shit. And I'm like, oh, we done fucked up. And he's like, nah, it's cool. I see you guys struggling. Here's some money. Here's some food. Y'all are good. So it's like, even though like it was a bad onto him, like when we'll dive into like, you know, benefit for majority of people versus for minority. But it's like, but even though it was bad onto him, he was able to turn that around.
Minority.
Yeah.
Or majority.
Yeah.
Collective.
Collective. Let me change up. Let me fix that up. Better for the collective versus better for the
majority or minority.
Right.
You know, because that's a whole different
thing. Yeah.
Now you're getting into politics.
Right. But it's like so not a numbers game, but more so like. Okay, what's better for all of society versus what's good for the majority?
It comes down to world building.
Yeah. A lot of different elements. But at the end of the story, it's like they did something fucked up towards him. He was able to turn that around, and even though he went through this fucked up experience, he didn't think of anything ill of them. He was just like, oh, that was kind of shitty. Fuck. But then he was able to come out of that, and then he ended up in a position that was able to help them at the end. And they were scared of him, and he knew they were scared, and he was like, nah, it's all good. It's all good. I'm here for you.
Right.
And then so it's like that's a way to turn a negative into a positive.
Right.
And I think that story in and of itself is kind of emblematic of like when we're talking about good and evil, like what's good and what's bad.
Right.
It's like there's a way to turn a bad into a good, and that's a true superpower. You know that's what's valued.
Right.
Yeah. Versus
also
like,
to be neutral.
Yeah. 100%.
It seems like we're kind of saying all the same thing. I think you should separate from either thing. That's kind of like
you can.
It depends. Yes, you can. I think it depends on the individual. When you separate yourself from everything, it feels like you find out more what you're supposed to do, and it becomes less.
Okay, detachment. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, and that's what it's like being neutral. It's like being neutral is more detached from both sides. That seems like
that's true.
Yeah.
So that you can get a better understanding.
Perspective
of
or
Yeah.
observe it. Yeah, and that's typically
Absolutely.
where it seems like most people they're failing. They failing because they take one side. Or something.
Uh-oh.
That's-
Because she don't want me. Come back.
Yeah. You here to see the better parent. That's okay.
Oh, you tried that one. I did not.
You know what it is.
Yes, sir.
You know what time it is.
No.
Oh.
We wasn't doing
That's
that.
not what my backhand said. What'd you say?
Watch it, because I keep getting
Yeah, you better watch it. Yeah. Watch your mouth.
I love y'all. Y'all good.
No, chill out. Relax.
Relax, Mom. Relax. Chill. Relaxing.
Y'all got a beautiful family, y'all. Man, we was getting deep, see?
Yeah, no.
It's always something.
No. Yeah. So we go back to it. All breaks that we need to take. All good. Probably good for us to get a little perspective. Yeah.
So you record this, right?
Yeah, man. I'm recording it all. I'll flip it up and
That's good.
yeah.
And then you edit it and
Yeah. But I like the long form podcast, like the long term form conversation where it's like.
now, I ain't gonna give you all my secrets.
Nah, you ain't gotta do all that.
I ain't got nothing to hide, man.
Yeah, man. No, but I think it's sorely needed, man. Because like I don't think a lot of people are used to looking at things through a filter, where it's like, and even on like Facebook and Instagram and all that jazz, they're still looking at things through a filter, like trying to put on like a certain kind of persona versus like, no, just
But
be who you
people
are,
need
man.
what
That's
they
what
need.
it is. Yeah, 100%.
Let the babies have their milk.
That's it, man.
Certain. It's things that even me and you won't even be able to grasp or conceive. It's things that we don't even understand.
Yeah,
The way
100%.
certainly. I mean, like we talked about earlier. What about people that operate on a level with billions and trillions of dollars?
Yeah.
An individual.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not talking about 10 people in an investment group or something. I'm talking about one person.
One person is able to move that kind of money around.
That
They're
has
just
that type of influence, that power. Can you
Yeah.
imagine?
Yeah.
Me and my mother was actually talking about this. People like Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk,
Yes.
that can actually change something.
Yeah.
But can you imagine
And
the
it-
responsibility
And you know, and
of something like that?
linking it back like it's. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Because you can change. You can.
That goes back down to the saying that I love from one of the Marvel comics, which I think was the one where Tony Stark found Peter Parker, the new one where he said, if something bad happens, if you have the power to change it, the thing that bad happens because of you. When he was in the room with him, and it's like, but the thing is, can you really say that? Because it all go back down
Because
to
what is bad and what's good. So that
empathetic emotions. It goes back down to what do you feel is wrong and what do you feel is bad. It's like, so, like,
So, and that's all subjective because it's like I could feel like, you know, as one of the 11 brothers, like I could feel like, oh well, doing this is good because, you know, this guy's getting all the favor instead of like there's 12 kids, 12 sons. There's more kids because there's daughters and stuff, but there's 12 sons. You know, daddy's just looking out for this one son. Maybe get rid of this one son. Maybe we'll all get a little bit of the blessings.
Right.
And you know, maybe that'll be good for all 11 of us. You know, versus this one dude who's just benefiting off of it. He's getting spoiled off of it.
Yeah, but what's the reason you're getting spoiled?
Yeah, that's deep. But it's like, for whatever reason, he's favored. I want to say why.
Everybody has a favorite.
But, yeah, and that's the thing about subjectivity. It's like, because without
Certain
that...
children not going to grow like the other ones. Like a tree.
Yeah, exactly.
All fruits of a tree don't ripen at the same time.
Right, so does that mean you get to chop down all the trees? Like, nah. But...
No, you don't chop the tree down. You let them grow and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, that's a very,
Rotten apples
very
fall
pertinent.
first.
That's a very pertinent question. Yeah, I like that saying. Yeah. But so things could be good, things could be bad, but you could turn
a rotten apple.
You could turn
It's
into
fertilizer.
You could turn a bad
But
into
something
a
else to
good.
grow too.
100%. That's what the whole reason behind All those creatures that are involved in decomposition are for like that. You know, you planting any kind of thing. Like, hey, you're gonna have to grab the worms. You're gonna have to grab the.
It's still beautiful.
100%. Because we have to look at it in its entirety. You can't just look at it surface level because, like, you missing the depth that goes into the beauty that it actually is.
Oh, most certainly.
You're gonna ignore the roots and you just look at the pretty shit on top. It's like, yeah, you don't know it.
The maggots eating. Maggots turning to flies.
Like, so the overall concept is what are we trying to figure out right now? More so.
We just talking shit.
God, I was
We were just talking shit.
We're figuring it out. You asked the question, what are we trying to figure out?
But
right?
exactly.
I think
You answered your own question. We're figuring it out now.
Yeah,
I think like to say it in another way. I think the question is more important than the answer.
Yeah.
Because like we're not like prophetic, religious
scholars and all
or anything like that.
Hey, that thing got wheels on it.
I didn't even realize.
It's a box with wheels. Awesome.
But it links into so many other things about like, what's bad versus good. It's all perspective. Because it's like, when you're a kid and you're talking about like, I want the soda. And then the parents are like, nah, you can't
Drink water.
Yeah, you gotta drink water. You can't drink any soda. You're like, what? And you're looking in the pantry, you see the 12-pack of ginger ale. Yeah. You're like, these guys are evil. They're not giving me what I want. Soda. Yeah, ain't that something? They drinking the wine coolers that has more sugar than the sodas do. They eating that candy. I see them with the crack pipe. Like, it's like, so like things look evil to you, but then it's like, then you grow up and then you realize, oh, sugar's bad for me. That's how teeth fall out. Oh, that's why they didn't want to do it. Oh, mom and dad are dealing with these problems. That's why they're on the pipe. They don't want me to do that. That's why they're trying to keep me away from that. Oh, I see it. Okay, now I understand it in perspective.
I'm gonna try to pipe too. Let me see what that
is. So it's like, think like it's a perspective thing when it comes to like what's right and what's wrong. It's like it's easy to be like to simplify it like, oh, this is that, this is this, but like from different perspectives, different things can look at like different objects. So it's like I think that's dangerous to be able to try to simplify into right and wrong. Like I think we could universally say like this is right versus this is wrong. But I think it's more important to ask the question and to answer. Go back to what it is that we're doing right now.
A correct way to do it.
Yeah, and I think that's the correct way to do it. To ask the question. I think the question's like, yo, what you did was kind of fucked up. I don't think you should punch that baby in the face. Well, why did you do that?
Right.
That's more important than.
It's correct that children need discipline. That's correct.
Right. But do they need a closed fist, Ray Rice, fully clocked back? Right. Right, and I think it's interesting to explore that because
it's based more off of the individual or the individual's life.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, like for example, like my parents, it's like, or like my dad in particular, it's like if someone did something bad and his like him or his cousins, everybody's getting that ass whooping. And it's like, oh, I don't know who did this. Everyone's getting that ass.
And
whooping.
They would say that that's not fair.
Yeah. My dad grew up. That's not fair. So what he did was revolutionarily different from what they did. But he still whooped that ass way more than I did. Right. I whipped my kid's ass way less than my dad whipped my ass. Right. But like perspective wise,
it's actually
like, he's coming from
more effective to communicate with the child
100%
instead of
Now, not to say they don't need that ass hit when they get too bad.
But it's more effective to communicate, to have them actually voice, and you talk to them and. We got a
personality,
individuality. It's
what
more
actually
effective.
affects them personally.
Yes, we need to talk. We need to actually communicate about.
Because I'm trying to help formulate your mind. I'm not necessarily trying to punish your individual action right now. Because right here, right now, it's not that big a deal. It's just a popsicle. It's no problem. But I don't want you to get used to stealing shit whenever you feel comfortable, or whenever you don't get what you want, and then you go out here living life thinking that's okay, and then you get hemmed up, you get shot, you get killed, you get screwed over,
or even worse than that, you get locked up or go to prison somewhere,
right, forever and ever, and then you have to live that lifestyle, and then your family's impacted that, and my future generations are impacted by that because you made a bad decision that I didn't have the foresight to feel like, oh, I need to do something about it right now. Right. Don't steal that popsicle. I'm gonna have to whoop that ass.
Not that far, actually, man. So
these all have implications. They all have implications. So it's like,
It's a butterfly effect. I get what you're saying.
I just
Yeah.
never thought of it that far.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that there's so many factors in between, and you don't know how
can't really
this is gonna
calculate.
affect that. You just
Cause and effect, right?
yeah, and then that's where the communication comes in. Where it's like, hey, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. I don't know if it's the best way. I don't know if there's a better way. I don't know if you did this or not. But I'm gonna have to respond in this way because this is what I believe subjectively is right versus wrong. I think it's right for me to jump on this now, and I think it's wrong if I didn't do this because the
I
implications
like to
might be
get
so
rid of
much
the
negative.
right and wrong.
I mean, it's still there. It's never going away.
Yeah, I mean,
But it's more like
it's subjective.
correction. You know, you're correcting things and correcting something. you know?
So like
Because
things you
that
could-
right
you
and
could-
wrong
you could-
thing is just
you could spin it
tethers
any kind of
a
way.
thin line.
Right.
Just,
Right.
Typically anything, yeah. You
Right,
can
because you
spin
could be
it
like,
any
oh,
way.
you come into my house, you start storming through my cabinets, you start raiding my fridge.
Oh, yeah, that's wrong all day.
You start looking for something that you say is
Just to
bad.
say to y'all, my bad for hitting the child. I didn't know she was right there.
It's all good.
Like, I didn't know she was.
I mean, I'm speaking
like,
for
she was in like the middle at first. That's what I was saying. It was like she was at the middle at first, and then after a few seconds, she was getting the. Once I hit that joint, I was just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I looked down, I was like, damn. I was just in shock, because like, shit fucked me up for a second.
That's okay. At least you get the phone back. You know.
you did it on purpose.
That's wrong.
Is that what you wanted to say? You know I'm her daddy, right?
Nah, that's what I was saying. Like, that's why I was so much shocked. Cause like, I don't really want to hit babies on that. That's why that shit.
Oh, you want to hit baby?
You want to
Oh,
hit
nah,
baby?
you getting the word confused.
Damn. You
Are
wanna
you
hit
telling on
baby?
yourself right now?
Damn. Is it because she's black?
I don't want to hit babies.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm so tired of hitting these babies.
I want to do it.
Cause you hit my baby, you know that, right?
Making me.
Nah, you good, bro. You alright. You
No,
gonna
I'm
say
saying
sorry to her? That's what
this
you
guy,
do.
this guy, leap and balance, man. Leap and
That's
balance
good.
compared
You're
to
a
what-
good guy. You're
Yeah, 100%, man. Like I've never seen somebody come from all the way over here.
That's
to
even
all the way
strong.
over
In fact,
there.
you come
That's
up and
fantastic.
apologize. You're showing
Fantastic.
initiative. That's good.
That's so like there's grown ass.
Be as positive as you can, man. When you become a man, you go, man.
Yo,
wow.
that's a
That's why
superpower
I came out
nowadays.
as a apologize. It was like, it wasn't on purpose, so I'm gonna go ahead and explain.
You
like,
said it was on purpose.
I done you it.
You let y'all make some jokes right now.
You know I got a gun right now. I'm just joking. You're right.
Yeah, my bad though. I didn't know she was right there. That's why that shit shocked me, because it's like she was in the middle at first.
All right. So what did you learn from it?
Don't swing the bat.
No.
Hey,
That's one thing.
What you need to do?
Yeah.
See, your brother telling you right there. Pay attention, man.
Don't
Like, we
yeah.
was kind of tipsy. Like,
It's some big little babies running around.
That's what I'm saying.
Pay attention.
That's why I paid attention at first. So
And if you don't pay
that's
attention,
why the shit threw me off.
now we thinking you just batting babies down all day.
What is going on? What your brother said? He was like, he's trying to say like, oh, definitely don't swing the bat inside the house, but that's super specific. But just
He's
in general,
good. He's just having
in
fun.
general, it's
There she is.
That's all it is.
Kenneth says a padded.
Yeah. It was the super foam, the Baltimore Oreo.
Here, good young man. That's my guy. That's here, good young man.
He already displayed. No. He already displayed more manhood
Yes.
than at least
That was
60%
absolutely-
of these men out here.
I love that. That was
100%.
absolutely respectful.
100%.
And you know,
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, I did
that's
ass
strong.
pride inside of room down there.
It's okay. It's alright. It's alright.
Like, I
It's
had a
alright.
baby, like, that's one thing I would
It's
never do.
alright.
So I like
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
I feel you.
Because real men take initiative and take responsibility.
Yeah, you don't wait for
Good
someone
job.
to come to you. You don't wait.
Yeah, I looked down, I was like, oh shit, like, I was just shocked, so I was
I'm
like, she wasn't here at first.
Yeah, so like no matter what kind of who you're running with or what kind of stuff you're doing, but it's like if you pay attention, because there's little things that you won't think about. You see the guy who's like who's cutting his eyes, like and when like we're all just chilling, being more comfortable. It's like you got to keep your eyes out. You got to keep your eyes peeled because there's people out here, these cats out here who are doing wild shit, and you might not be 100% for it. You don't think that's coming, but just pay attention to what's going on. And this looks like this. I don't stay away. I don't walk away. And not because, and you don't have to tell everybody like, no, is this what it is? Just because you can't trust 100% what other people are about.
they might be very comfortable lying in your face and just be like, all right, I'm just gonna stay away.
I'm going.
And that's why when we young, we say that. We say, these people or those people, they think this way or they feel this way. Or, but really, it's the Matrix holding up a mirror to you saying, this is your perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And when you interact with people in the world, right, even on an international level, you're gonna notice. Just talk to some. They don't think like you at all. Yeah. They don't talk like you. They don't have the same dialect. You're gonna realize that, wow, I actually come from a different background than this person.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tone it down a bit and try to maybe I should listen to what they got to say and understand their perspective.
Yeah.
Then you can synchronize your particular perspective on the world with theirs and actually come up with some type of outcome of something that's productive. See? Instead of just looking at the world as, see, because people don't think like me. Oh, they don't think like this. You see what I'm saying? But if somebody was to hold up a huge mirror to you, that's the world. That's the perspective. Your perspective is the world. It's your world. That's why you're drawing to certain people. It's your perspective. You can only change that.
That's why I think it's important when, instead of like trying to look at it like, oh, I'm trying to change the way this person thinks, or this person's wrong, this is the spawn of Satan, and all that shit. It's like they just look at it like, oh, well, you know what? This person is just looking at things from a different perspective than I can understand. And instead of me explaining things or spitting these facts, I'm going to talk about things from the level that they understand it as. And I'm going to walk them over the bridge
My
so they can
open
maybe
advice,
understand what I'm saying.
Just coming from me is be open and willing to learn. Because
That's the biggest thing that I follow now.
Did you know?
Like,
even with me, there's always going to be a individual or people or whatever that's going to look at you like, okay, he's weird.
Mm-hmm.
but see, and this is where
And
probably
then-
the issue that I'm stuck at right now in my life. This is why I feel like empatheticness, if I'm talking from my perspective, I don't believe emotion is really a real thing. It's not. It's not, because that's what confuses the most things.
Yeah, but see, you're wrong.
Yeah, I don't.
And now we're talking about right and wrong, but emotion is emotion. The fact that you said that is an emotion.
You can
'Cause
choose, but you
the
can choose
first
to
the
cut
first
it
thing
off,
that
though.
you actually said was "I feel."
That is very true. That is
That's an
very
emotion.
fucking true. That,
That's an emotion.
okay, that was very true though.
That's an emotion. There's nothing wrong with emotions, bro. You need them
Yeah.
actually.
We like to pretend like, especially nowadays with the whole like woke culture and all that shit, it's like, oh yeah, like emotions is a bad
Can't be
thing and
just
we
so
need to be more
cold-hearted
logically.
and-
Yeah, but it's like, no, it's more than that. Like, cause
Look
it's
at
like,
cultures where men is malevolent. They go to war and they destroy each other. No emotion, logic.
we
Simple logic,
we
too.
create a
Straightforward.
whole industry in order to demonize the people on the other side. Not because we want to see them as demons, but because we have to be doing well.
You have an
emotion-wise
ideology.
in
And-
order
and-
to
and what-
legitimize where you're coming from.
Almost
You
a
make it
cult
legitimate
following, like a
based
cult
upon your
following.
thoughts
Yeah.
and what it's
Yeah.
headstrong. What you want, this how it's got to be, and it's logical.
Yeah.
No in between. So that's actually kryptonite, to be honest. I mean, you need a little bit of it, but you can't just be that way. You can't just look at things in one perspective. You got to be able to flow with certain things.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear that, Breeze?
Yeah.
Now slow down.
Yeah.
That's it's flowing.
Yeah.
Ain't hear the cars. Oh no, where you going? Right, left? Where you going? They got a destination. They got a destination. That one got a destination.
Mhm.
That's all it's saying.
Yeah.
Is that logical?
It can be, but the only way that it's logical is like, you know, to go off what you're saying about emotion is like, you know, people feel the way that they feel, and you know that feeling isn't logical, but it's just but it's 100% true for that individual
Yes.
person.
It
100%.
is their truth.
Yeah. So it's like wherever they're going or wherever they want to be.
And there's
it's
many
like,
truths,
yeah.
but
Yeah, yeah. So like, who are you to say from your perspective what's right or wrong? Because
I feel like that comes back down to also psychology. That comes back
Yeah.
down to what affects a person. I think why most people's growth is stunted because they stop at a certain
But
point
there you
because
go
of
again.
trauma.
There you go again.
okay, yeah,
It's
yeah.
like-
Now,
Yeah.
what if I told you every time you say most
Feel.
people, not feel, you
Oh,
you say most
most
people.
people.
What if those most people you're talking about are simply you? It's a mirror image of your perception of your view of the world.
And even if it's not most people, even if it's only 10
Well,
people out of
what are people?
6 billion,
Well,
it's still very
let's
true.
not
It's,
go-
it's
okay.
100% true.
That's
Especially
for
in the
entire
modern
life-
age. Especially in the modern
experience
age.
for
Okay,
these
but
10
let's not
people.
go that far.
Okay,
Let's not even go that far.
okay.
Let's take it to when you wake up, take a piss and a shit, brush your teeth, and get something to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Most people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what we sitting out here thinking about all these other people for? Because don't you know that it's other people that's saying the same thing that you saying? Well, most people.
Most people also affect your life. You can't stay away from
But
social.
you affect your life by dealing with what? Most people.
Yeah,
right?
like I mean, if you were to like sit down and to write,
But
write
those
down
most
the
people are you.
Yeah,
That's what I'm trying to say.
'cause-
That's where I'm getting
yeah,
down
yeah.
to it is your perception.
Because
of people.
if you were to sit down and write down the amount of people that you really interact with on a daily basis, even the amount of people who dictate.
How old you? Yeah. You know, they already smoked. Look, he's. Oh my God. Not stealing no more, or not doing something wrong, or whatever the case may be. It's called what is it called? Police and all that, lawyers. I just gave it away. What is it called? The what?
Law.
Yeah.
The law of the state. The people will run the whole world.
Law.
Yeah, the judicial system right there. And that's
So
what that's
study
kind of,
finance and law.
and you could do it on a microcosm kind
If
of
you
way,
want
kind of
it.
like what I was talking about with the whole like the teachers who are giving you shit about like, oh yeah, well you didn't do this, well like oh yeah, I'm not gonna do this for disrespectful as child. I was like, I bet. I know my rules. I know what my rights are.
Learn
You know,
That's what I was
this
saying.
is what
I know my
yeah.
rights.
Yeah,
Cause she saw you gotta use the bathroom. I was like,
you've already
a whole
fought
law
that
right
fight.
there.
You've already
Well,
fought
look,
that fight because that's the
listen to me
laws that
carefully.
apply to you.
Don't follow the norm, and don't look at me as far as for the physical, but listen to the message. Don't follow the norm. Govern yourself as much as possible, okay? Because you're going to grow. You're going to keep growing. You're going to be a full-grown man. Govern yourself properly. You're going to make it far. Study finance and law. And save and create a retirement portfolio at, how old are you? 15? Start now.
Yeah, you can.
You better start saving your dollars
Yeah, and start investing in now. You can start
and
growth.
get married.
What?
It's not
Yeah.
too much else.
Get married.
Well, okay, that's a whole other.
That's
that's
another
a-
goal. Yes, that's a whole
I know. That's what fucked you up.
That's
I
a
know.
loaded. That's a loaded topic. Right there.
Wait, what?
That's one thing. That's a.
Okay. Now, I ain't say like the whole. See, y'all so scared of the term.
Nah. But I'm just saying it's a loaded term. I'm just
All
saying
right.
like.
All right, I give you one better than that. I give you.
Take
Okay,
the
fuck the
perspective.
marriage.
Yeah. Okay.
I give you one better. How did you get on planet Earth? How did you come here?
I got here because there were two people that had the equal amount of capability. There was a man that
No,
provided
no,
what
no,
he
no.
could, and there was a
Don't
woman.
go too far. Stop. Okay, I get that. I love that. Now I understand. Okay? Because you're going, yeah.
That was me. Yeah, I know. That was me. All right, that was me. All right.
But guess what? Hold on.
All right, come on.
I just asked you a simple question. Please give me a simple answer.
I got it.
How did you get on planet Earth? How did you get here?
Barry White.
It's like that's the charge. Because they was playing that shit. And it was humping and bumping. And guess what? Here you come. No, but listen. Listen. It took what? A man and a woman, right?
Yes.
That's it. That's how you got here. All of us. You can. All of the other shit is just extras, right? Like when you got the extras when you're playing Grand Theft Auto and the games, little extras. Oh, that's a computer simulated joint, right? It's just extras. All of the other stuff, man. It's simple.
still depends down to the individual.
But that's gonna get you the most success. You're a man, you need the female.
But that's the modern.
In our society, it's not modern day. That's been since the beginning.
No, not that.
let's-
I mean, it's a difference in the modern age. It's like a lot
The
of
modern
people.
age is
Toxic.
completely selfish. I would
Fucked up.
say.
Fuck, that's what my point. I'm in the modern age. This
I'm
is
in it
what
too,
kinda
nigga. I'm
helps.
standing here talking to you.
Yeah.
I'm like, we right here.
Goddamn. I'm
You don't
right.
think I'm living life? I'm living.
No, but this goes back to the whole right
bro, we
wrong.
hit it.
This goes back to the whole right wrong cause and effect thing, because like we could be like, all right, I think this is right versus
Every
that
day.
versus
Never
yeah.
stop.
Yeah, but it's different perspective. Cause like there's cats out here who live, like for example, I have a cousin who's been with this girl for like 6 years. Everything's going great. You know, things are good. They're working in the same place. They go to school together. Everything's cool. They're vibing well together. Planning vacations together. You know, everything's awesome.
They planning, right?
Yeah. Planning.
What about that day to day?
Yeah. Well, like the day to day, they're cool. They vibing off of each other. They're like he's too busy to talk to most of the family.
So
He's
what
just
could
so busy
really
just
be
having happiness. Well, the thing that they ended up breaking up because that he wanted one thing and she wanted another thing. Not to say what's right and wrong.
Okay.
It's just that he wanted to have a family. She didn't want to
didn't?
have a family.
Well,
And
that's
it's like,
some
and she-
shit that should come at least at the prospect of being
Yeah.
together, so they
And
still
you know-
aren't
6 years?
being
And see-
completely genuine.
Right, and that's the thing, and I think that's why it's worth it, and why I like the whole thing about the whole podcast thing about like, oh, I don't know how to be anything else but authentic. I think that's 100% necessary because I think most people are so focused on being inauthentic. And I think it's worth it to just be authentic. It's just having
Just be
authentic
yourself.
people sitting here talking about random shit that everybody goes through is worth it. Because most people just don't know how to do it. And I just repeated myself twice.
But that's why I boiled down to, from my perspective, what I had to get out of the whole thing with Mary, Krista, all this other stuff, just everything.
Yeah.
What made me realize this factor is I realized nothing matters. And if you learn nothing matters, you learn everything matters because it matters what you apply to. So that's why I take out every social or emotional kind of concept because it doesn't matter unless you make it matter.
That's gonna teach you a
If
lesson.
you make it matter, it applies to you.
Yeah, and I think that's the true value of emotion. Because like if you look at everything
Certain
logically,
things you don't have
Yeah,
to
emotion,
have
that's like
emotion in it.
Nah, look, that's like saying you doing
That's
murder.
why I deal
You're
with the
not doing
science
it
of
'cause
of
the
fluc-
main point. You doing
fluctuation.
it off of emotions at that point. Say if somebody piss you off, you
Now,
kill
why
them.
you talking about murder,
That's
young
all.
boy?
But still,
Just
he
say-
gave
no,
you
no, no,
perspective.
no, no,
Yeah,
no,
that's
no,
what
no,
I'm saying.
no,
That's
my
what
mom
I'm
said
saying.
different.
talking about
My mom said
perspective.
different.
We're
That's
talking
like
about
saying
perspective.
somebody
Yeah.
piss you off, all this and all that. You killed them right there. That's off of emotions. Whole time you may be thinking later,
That's true.
damn, that's fucked up. I shouldn't have killed that
I
nigga. It
shouldn't
wasn't
have- yeah.
that serious.
Yeah.
But
It's
at
too late
that
after
moment,
that.
you think that, oh, I want to kill this nigga, do all that. But once later, you actually get to being like at your sober point.
Right.
Not even sober
Right.
point, just getting at your right point. You gonna be
Right,
like,
right.
I shouldn't
Because
have
you,
did all that.
essentially you killing yourself.
But that's
Pretty
what
much.
hindsight is, and there's a saying about that. That's why people always say like hindsight is 20/20. Why is hindsight always 20/20? Because you're dealing off of emotion. If
Well,
you
it's
really
because
well,
of the
I think-
vision
I think
of
it's-
the eye.
Well, also I think
They use the
say-
term 20/20 because of you ever had an eye exam?
But yeah, but
Yeah.
more so
20/20
what I
vision.
mean is
Yeah.
why is always there is I wish I could have done. That's what
Well,
hindsight or
I think that the it's a
Yeah, but
there's,
you
there's
learn
a,
from that.
yeah, but
The
it-
reason
I
why
think
that
there's
is there
there's
is
a dangerous.
it's a
Go ahead.
it's a measurement. It's from you as an individual or young being coming up to have a measure of your life, so that you can take from that and maybe not make the same mistakes.
Yeah.
You know, or actually use the advice to grow to gain something.
yeah.
Okay, because this life is about gain. It's not about you just wasting it away. It's been given to you for a reason.
Right. But
That's what they
I
say,
think that
every life has a reason.
it does.
Yes, it's
but,
very important.
But it's a dangerous thing to assume that things are gonna, how things are gonna work out just because you live in
And
the
you
future.
don't know.
Exactly.
You
So
can
that's why
only
that's why I
measure.
hate the term hindsight's 20/20, just because it's like that, for example, like
And telling the truth,
that
that is how I think I know what's
don't
gonna
hate
happen before it
anything.
does.
See,
Okay.
you know, it's
But-
just
but
it's
it's
That
like
just
makes you
a,
have deja vu. You
well,
thought of it, you know.
even that the hindsight 20/20 is just a perspective of it's like a grant
now.
of something for you to
It's
look at.
it's a gift that you have now because you're able to look at the past, but you only being
Well,
able
what
to
if
look
it
at
ain't
the
your
past.
gift?
But this is
Because
the
I
thing.
like to play devil's advocate.
Well, like this is
What if it's
this
for
is the
somebody else?
well, this is what I'm saying.
And
Like,
just for you to learn
well, because we live in the present, like we have the gift of knowing what happened in the past. So
Yes,
people like
that
to
is a
think,
gift.
yeah, but people like
It's
to
beautiful you say that because
oversimplify.
people don't
Right,
speak
right.
about the past like that.
Yeah, but people like to oversimplify the past, like we're more advanced than we ever were before.
Right.
And so it's like we look at the past like, oh, well, this is what it is now. So of course the past would have happened
Most
this
people
way.
talking about grade
But
and say that that's stupid, but it's like back
It's
then you
super
gotta
stupid,
understand.
yeah.
They didn't have all that shit back
Right.
then. They figured that out by themselves. That's smart as shit.
Right,
No technology
right.
or nothing.
Exactly.
But y'all saying that they dumb. If we was back then, we would be fucking shit.
Yeah,
ass
we
laws.
would.
We would not
Yeah.
know what the fuck.
Yo,
we were like,
we were sitting here trying to figure out how to start the fire,
he's speaking.
and we're just like, yo, we had the matches, we had the lighter, we had the
Oh,
oil,
man.
we had the
they had
dry
to
grass,
figure it out.
and we
They
still
really
like,
wanted to. They could have
oh
just
my
blew
God.
up some shit automatically by
right,
accident.
Right.
They
But
had
it's
to
like-
figure out how to make a fire and actually get their shit.
Right, and that's why I hate the whole
Because
hindsight.
now everything's
2020.
just given to you. You
Right.
can just go to
Like,
like,
Do you
and-
know,
and that-
do
and
you
that's-
know
and
what
that's
it
what-
mostly was during those times? A man and a woman. It was family.
We'll touch on it. I promise you. We will
I
touch on
still
it. I
go
promise.
back
I
to it.
promise
All
you.
of it
I
connects.
promise you.
Yeah.
I promise you. We'll touch on it because it's all
even
related.
now, it's the separation.
Yeah.
It's man against woman right now. as you can
100%.
see it
100%.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Look at Japan, man. Look at
I mean, look.
the
Just look
robots.
at. Yeah, the sex
We ain't
machines.
gonna-
Yeah. We'll touch on it. We'll touch on it, and they'll touch on that.
Yes, they will. It's a lot. It's a lot going on, man.
But-
It's a lot.
But just to say, like,
To the point now we scared of marriage.
yeah. But what?
So the younger
No,
generation.
that,
Well, we'll link it in.
No,
We'll
I'm
link it
not
in.
like I can explain mine off. That's what I'm saying.
No,
This
I know,
is a
I
whole
know, I know.
separate topic. Like
We'll-
you said,
we'll-
it's a
we'll
separate
touch on
topic.
it.
We all
But-
need to talk
but
about
first,
this because I
yeah.
got no fucking talking about that.
But like,
Right.
we're talking about hindsight 2020. It's like we're making the assumption that what
What
happened.
future will you have without children?
I know, but again, the timeline, like looking at things time-wise, like, oh, what happened in the past?
asking and all
We're making the assumption that what happened in the past would happen regardless of whatever, blah blah blah.
You
So
were
we're saying
a child one day.
we're able to look at things.
Remember,
We have the
Don't forget that you was a baby
100%.
before.
Even back then, I thought I was smart.
That's why I told Rashi. He was talking about some. Oh, I don't
In
need
some
parents. What the
ways,
fuck?
like-
It's like when we was all, he was
Not
like,
even
"What are
about
they
that.
here
It's
for?" I'm
just
like,
that most-
"Nigga, if you don't have parents to teach you shit, you will be a retarded ass child out here right now. Not
He is
knowing
a
what the
retarded
fuck
ass
you're
child.
doing."
We gotta get that.
Nah, but
What
like
would
you
you say?
peep,
That's-
he still may be a little
I had
retarded,
a
but like
best
if
friend
it
that
wasn't
was-
for
I know
parents,
stupid.
like
But
That
it
was
goes
that
back
literally
to
was
something-
raised in foster care his whole life.
Yeah, and we were kind of talking about this earlier before.
AJ, I ain't gonna put his name out there,
Yeah.
but
He
just said it.
It's like that. but how like we all make the assumption like hindsight's 2020, whereas like, oh well, now we understand the way that things would have happened, or because of
We don't understand that.
X, Y, and Z conditions that happened already.
can't
So we're like,
understand what the
so
hell
we
the
always
world
say
got planned.
exactly. So we always
you
say
go.
we always pretend like, oh,
What'd you just say?
you can't
Let him
understand
say
what
it
the
one
world
more time.
got planned.
100%.
So what do you do in a particular matrix that's like that? You can't. Why
You just
even?
can't do nothing. You just gotta let it roll over.
No, you can do something. What
Yeah.
do you do?
You stand on the outside of that.
You do for yourself.
Much, yeah.
Self-preservation.
Like I said, just
I
do
do
something
say
yourself
you
and stay
do
to
stand on the
yourself.
outside of what everybody
Just
else
like
does.
now,
I
it's
see
a
what
majors
you're saying.
where you can't
You
really
do-
talk to nobody,
you do
can't
your
get
best.
too close enough. You
I
just
think
stay
we're all-
to yourself
we're-
right
yeah,
now and
you-
just do shit by yourself.
You're all
and with
saying
your
the same
family.
thing. You're all saying the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty much.
yeah, 100%. Where it's just like he's trying. What George is trying to do. He's trying to drive the point home of like, it's not like it's this stuff is outside of your control. You can do something about it, but it's like the thing that you
Well,
can
it's
do
a
about it.
That
reality.
most people
because-
don't, because they just
Exactly.
think that it's
They're not
in
even
control.
aware
And
about
that whole
what the
time you
problem
gotta
is.
fucking figure out something to
stand
do
on
about
my
it.
outside
It's a reality.
perspective.
Your perspective creates whatever
But no,
you see.
that's the difference. I stay outside. I can be in my perspective. I understand how to get outside of it, but the world still applies. And when you realize the
What
world still
world?
applies, the world that's around
What
you.
world?
The world that he perceives it. The way that
See,
the way that
when
he
I
perceives
ask
the
you a
world.
strong question like that, what world? Did you know that I can't see your world
Yeah, like I mean,
unless you
even-
bring me into it?
even-
Almost like a phone call, bro. I'm over here. Come fuck with me for a minute. Smoke
see
with me
how it
something.
is over there.
Then I'll come to you. We'll drive around wherever you
So,
from. or
but
what-
it's based
what-
then. So then you're saying more. So
What I'm
it's based
so-
off
what
of
I'm-
what you perceive
Let
it
me
as.
simplify it. Let me tell you something. What I'm saying is, your world is your world. Even the girl that lives next door to you's world is completely different than yours.
Hey man, even
Because
if you
of
have a
perception.
twin,
So the
even
best
if you have a
concept is
twin,
to stay to yourself. That's what I boiled down to.
No.
I
Well, let's go back.
Stay to yourself, yeah.
Well,
Don't be so introvert all the damn time. Because how you gonna learn? I know we all are to a degree.
No,
Did you know that?
that was my dominant
Well, I think
I'm just.
I don't think so.
I think there's extremes on all
I
sides.
think to me, you very well with people. I mean, you talking to me. I can't even see that. in you.
That's based off of empathetic
That's
capabilities.
based on perception.
Am I able to
Right.
project, or am I really feeling what
Okay,
you're
so
saying?
my
Like,
perception.
Right.
Okay, let me tell you something. My perception of you is that you're a people person. The energy I get off of you is that you be around people.
but if you ask him
Why
that
is that?
question, would it be different? Because
But listen though, it's because I don't even have an understanding of who you are. I can't. I'm in a different world.
You don't know who you are right now. He just know your name.
Hold
or
on, just let me break this down. To me, in my world, people that has your dialect and the way that you talk and move deal with people. No, I'm just telling you from my perspective and perception in my world. It's not your world.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Do you see what I'm saying?
yeah, but
If
this is
you
what
think-
this is
if
what I'm.
you
But this is
came
Yeah,
to
that's
this is
the
where
difference.
I
She
am,
thinks that
it
somebody like
came
you
into my
was pretty
world,
much like operating
into
with
my
somebody
mind
else
is really what I'm
the
trying
whole
to
time.
able to
say.
deal with
And
Yeah.
you were around
Yeah.
the men and women or whatever and things that I deal with on a day-to-day basis. That would be the only way you can measure to see what type of mindset and people I deal with.
Right.
And the reason why I'm using them is a reflection to look at you and say, okay, this being right here, to me, you seem like a person that's a people person.
Yeah, and two things can
But
exist
then-
at the same time. Where it's
Yes,
like
that's what we're
yeah,
talking about
100%.
because
So
he's
it's
the
like-
exact
yeah, and
opposite
that's-
of that.
And that's what I'm saying. Like you guys are saying the same
What the
thing
fuck
without
am I
even
mixing?
realizing it.
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
okay,
I
what
didn't
am I
realize.
missing? Okay, so
That boy
like
made a
this,
whole loop
like
out of camp,
yo, my
dog.
man flying around the fire
I'm
pit.
literally
yeah.
trying to figure this
Okay,
shit out.
so
Wait,
check
hold
this out.
Like,
So like
what
we know,
the
so like for example, Star Labs, quantum physics.
Yes.
We know that.
Oh, you're gonna talk about quantum.
Well, like
He's about to apply to me.
We know that gravity is real, right? Like we know that we can feel gravity.
Gravity
We're
is real
all
to a
here.
certain extent.
Okay, exactly, 100%. But that's what I'm saying about two things real. It can be
Gravity.
true
I
at
mean,
the
it's
same
real
time.
to other people because,
Yeah.
like, who's going out of the world and stuff to see that?
Okay,
Well,
where
this
does
is what I'm
gravity
saying.
come
Wait,
from?
hold tight.
Grounded.
Hold tight.
You're
Hold
on the
tight.
ground, right?
Yeah, so like I
No,
promise
gravity.
you,
Up there.
I promise you, you're gonna be happy
Up
with what
there
I
is
say.
gravity too?
And if you're not, I promise you can say something back.
But
Come on, I wanna hear it.
Okay, so like gravity is real. We know that gravity is real. We know that we can all feel it. We know that we can't just jump out and be out in outer space. We know that we're grounded to the earth.
right.
But at the same time, we also know that that Einstein was real. And his philosophy was real about the space-time, the space-time continuum. We know that space-time is a fourth dimension.
general relativity.
It's not
General
no time
relativity.
up there.
Yeah, so we know that gravity has
Nah,
a
but
direct.
look at this.
Hold
If,
tight.
if space is
Let him
infinite,
finish.
Okay.
Let him finish real
I
quick.
promise you, I'll let you talk. I
Because
promise you.
this can
Because
go into
I'm trying
the
to say,
quantum effect where
I'm trying to say
Give me a
how
minute. Give the
two
point.
things
Give me
two things can exist at the same time. Because we're like, if you study physics, you understand things from one dynamic. You're like, oh yeah, causal relationships between two different items because of the forces that exist that as we understand it.
that's
But
the
then-
physical world.
Right, but we also understand that quantum physics is also
It's
real.
another world.
100%, and like kind of like
Doctor Strange.
not Doctor Strange, but
You
what's
can say Doctor
Ant-
Strange
Ant-
to that
Ant-
degree. as
Ant-Man,
far as from-
Ant-Man and the Wasp when they
Okay,
jump into
yeah,
the quantum
okay.
realm, or like quantum physics, or like things,
and they would call that time jumping, right?
exactly.
That's pretty much-
That's what I'm about to say. The last what's the last movie that they called? Because I'm trying to link this up to not Infinity Game, but Endgame. Endgame, where it's like where they were able to jump into different realities,
reality.
even though they're in the same, they
to
exist
pull
in the same
in and
space.
hone in on one
Right.
reality.
So the
why
way
I
that
said Doctor
so
Strange, because when Thor came, he said, "What makes science different from magic?" He said, "Because at some point they become the same thing."
yeah.
do.
So it's like
So-
whereas you could look at
And
it
that's
from
reality.
from
That's
where,
dealing
from
with
where
your own reality
It's
and
logic
perception.
versus what is perception. Yeah.
Perspective
we could look at it like
and
science.
perception.
Science as perception, perspective. Like you can understand things from where you stand, science perspective.
Exactly, yeah.
But if you have a greater perception, like let's say like you're the
When
creator
does it
of all
become
things.
something
well,
that
not
you
all
can't
things.
perceive?
No, but I'm
Maybe
saying
you're the creator
magic
of the
is some-
laptop.
No,
right?
100%.
You
But
know
what
how
I'm
it
saying-
works.
what I'm saying is like, let's say if you have a perspective where you understand things on a very macro level, you
Macro
understand
level.
how
There you go.
things
That's the correct
fit
terminology.
together. So like what you like. So gravity can exist, but what Einstein says about gravity is that gravity is a fake force. The same way when you're sitting in a car and you press on that gas, you going 60 miles an hour that way, and you know you going 60 miles an hour that way because that's what the needle gauge says, and that you feel
Gauge.
it.
It has a
But-
gauge of what?
right.
Perception and speed.
But what you feel, which is also real in your
G-force.
is the G-force. You feel yourself getting flung back, and now, but there's nothing pushing you back. There's no wind. There's no wind pushing you back.
But you're still going.
Exactly. So that's what Einstein's saying about gravity. Einstein's saying that gravity is something that's called a negative force. It's not a real force. It's not something that's actually pulling you down. It's a byproduct of the space-time continuum.
That's true.
So he's saying that.
So you get into
even though
general relativity
That's like mass
and
versus
inertia.
velocity and all that.
Velocity.
no, I'm saying that
Velocity.
they're all linked
General
together,
relativity.
where more than
So,
one thing can be
if
true
you
at
in
the
the
same
car
time.
and you
So
pushing the gas,
even though
you're
you
feeling
think
the effect.
you think you like
The cause is to get in the car
yeah,
and
the
push
car's
the gas
moving.
to go somewhere.
You don't feel it. The car's feeling it, but then the lapse in time that it takes for you to catch up to what the car is feeling, because you're not moving at 60
why
miles
does
an
that
hour,
happen?
because the lapse in time.
Oh, we're probably low. Okay, sorry
Okay,
about
sorry.
that.
I love your neighbor. She's a lovely lady.
Yeah, yeah.
Very embarrassed.
It's all good.
Kid, I was so into this. Like, interesting.
Yeah, man, jump in. But it's like, yeah, this is 11 o'clock. My bad, neighbor. She's not listening to this podcast, so haha. Peace and blessings.
No, this is what I talk about emotional concept. Like, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
So.
No, but like two things can exist at the same time. Like where he thinks that you are a very social person and you believe yourself to not be a social person. Where it's like I even see even though I know you and we're real comfortable with each other, you come over and you kind of be to yourself until someone approaches. And then that's the normal thing, and I know that's how you are, so I know that's normal. Somebody else might see that and like, the fuck is that guy's problem? He's talking real loud. Or like our neighbor, fuck it, these guys' problem. They're outside and they're super duper loud. Fuck them. You know? So it's like perception. So perception matters. Where like two things can exist at the same time. We could still sit here, be courteous because we're trying to have an engaging conversation and be out on the porch, so we're not like interrupting their conversation. We're not bothering the kids. You know, we're trying to like be as nice as possible to everybody around us. But at the same time, she's like, yo, I gotta go to work in 3 hours, and these motherfuckers are out here talking.
Yeah.
No, like two things can exist at the same time, you know. So it's like,
Absolutely.
so it's not to say like one way is right and one way is wrong. But I think for the most part, I think a lot of us are intertwined in the same wavelength, in the same vibration, in the same frame of thinking, but we don't even know it because we're just so focused in our little worlds or our perspectives that we can't even acknowledge
Now, for you to
somebody
say
from
that
different.
as an individual, you know it.
Oh yeah.
You have the awareness.
At least I have an awareness of two things existing
Instead
at
of
the same time.
like I like
can't
to hold the mirror up.
Yeah, I can't say that I know everything, but I know I've lived in a world where I've seen two different worlds clash constantly, and it's just like it's crazy because this could be true and that could be true at the same time, and I see constantly bumping into each other. So I've been blessed with that.
Simultaneously.
But,
And that's the unity between opposites.
Yeah. And not to
That's
say that
getting
I know
into it.
everything, but just to say that, things are, and not to say one thing's right and one thing's wrong, but from certain perspectives, you're looking at things from one perspective, like with the kid who got ostracized from his 11 brothers, him being treated like being tossed out, that was wrong, but at the same time, hold on. Oh, wait. Yeah. Wait. You gotta listen. You have to wait. Understand?
Yes, sir.
You gotta wait. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Ah! Good job. Okay, so two things can exist at the same time. But I think most people just not aware of how our worlds overlap with each other, and things could. And in your world, you have a perception of what's right and wrong versus somebody else. Idea of what's right and wrong might be different. You know, one person's freedom fighter is another person's terrorist.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like it's the same thing. It's like, you know, what's right and wrong from different perspectives might be opposite or might just not be consequential. Like, oh, you really care about the rights of watermelons? Like, I could care less. I don't even like that.
It's more so about listening. It's more so about not even what just
I'm
affects
allergic
you.
to
You really gotta
watermelon.
listen.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
was thinking you really gotta listen to a person's perspective.
Yeah.
Say, even if it doesn't vibe with your perspective, you can still also understand.
Right. And then even though and I think that's the big thing about like being able to look at perspectives and being able to see that you'd be like, all right, well I understand all these things and like I'm not trying to prove it to you, but now I'm just gonna listen to what you have to say.
Right.
I'm gonna come to your side of the bridge. I'm gonna try to
And
walk
see,
you
yeah,
over to
we
my
can
side of the
bridge,
bridge
we
to
can-
understand things on a different level
Yes.
in order to accomplish X, Y, or Z goal, which I think we might overlap at. You know.
Sometimes the overlapping can be good. That's
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
You got to go back, retake, redo sometimes just to get
Yeah.
an outcome.
Yeah. I think it's vital. I think it's
Retake.
vital because I think the
When they
overlapping thing
make
is
movies,
good.
they always retake.
Yeah, exactly.
Do it again.
Yeah.
Do it again.
All right, was that scene good? All right, let's 3 more times just in case. If we get a better, oh man, be more sadder
Actually
this time.
end up going back to a clip that's like after like 6 clips in and choose that one to put in that movie.
100%. Yeah, and that feeds into the whole the inauthenticness. Like, I mean, I understand. Like, I appreciate the art form for what it is and all those storytelling. But it's
Authenticity.
but I love people just sitting down, fleshing out different ideas, and yeah, I think disagreeing is the best part of it because it's like there'll be some parts we disagree and some parts where we overlap. And I think at the end of the day, after we flesh everything out, we overlap way more than we disagree. And the disagreements is just really a difference of perspective.
It's true.
Is that we all agree. It's just that we all have different perspectives.
Yeah.
So we see it different. I can't even really explain. It's like different. It's like the same perspective but different outcome. Like different.
The outcome.
Yeah.
That's
The
the
outcome
main
might
thing.
be different, but it seems like it's all almost the same
Well, in the
perspective.
perspective, that's what you trying to come up with a conclusion, an outcome of whatever you perceive. Because what are you perceiving? And then if you're perceiving that particular thing, then what's the outcome of it?
It depends
What do
on
you want from it?
It depends on what you boil it down to. Your overall outlook on what life really is. If you ask me, mine, it means nothing matters, which means that
Right.
something
Well,
matters.
what do you want? Even if it doesn't matter, what do you want out of it? If nothing matters in life.
Overall, contrary to what I say about most don't matter, I just want to be happy. That's really just it.
Well, then you still want something from it. So then that actually
I'll
means
ask-
that something matters
Well,
about life.
he says everything matters because nothing matters, then everything matters. I'm kind of curious about that because I'm coming from a perspective
Then
of
you gotta ask the question: what is it that's gonna make you happy? What do you need? What's the outcomes of the processes that you need to make you happy?
or how do you look at things
As an
to say
individual.
that nothing matters, and how did you come from that perspective to understanding or thinking that because of that now everything matters?
Because I was going through a phase and I felt really, really bad. And when I realized nothing matters, it was more taken negatively, but something made me realize, like, and I never did anything wrong, but it made me realize that it was like, if nothing matters, that means what matters is to me. Everybody else is kind of stuck in this perspective,
Okay.
and this is what makes me feel like most people takes a side.
Okay,
If you
now
really
the question-
separate yourself from the outside and you realize nothing matters, you realize everything matters. Everything matters in a way if you have an
Your
interest
human
in it.
experience.
If you have an
Yeah.
interest in it, not just that, it unlocked a lot. That's why I've been
Okay.
doing better with math and stuff like that. I realized it's not about what the outside perspective was. This is why I realized I had an issue with being a child, growing up, even going through school and not understanding. It's not that I didn't understand math or school or anything like that. It's because I had a way of thinking that people apply to me. Once you realize nothing matters, everything matters, and you can actually apply what matters to you in the order.
Okay.
It's not about being negative or positive. It's just that you don't take the outside world into your perspective. And I feel like that's what helps me.
Okay.
It's like,
I follow. I think because it's kind of hard for me to see like, if nothing matters then everything matters. Like, I want to try to get
I
to
got
a
a
better, yeah.
Nothing in the way I mean.
Do you need the outside world?
What will I tell you?
What you consider to be the outside world, because actually the outside world is the inner world, is what you see and perceive. But do you need the outside world?
In a way of thinking, yes, because the outside world is anything outside of my perspective. So yes.
So it gives you what?
Well, let me say.
Measure. It gives you what? Measurement.
Yeah,
If
but
it
at the
wasn't
same
there,
time,
if
I
it
do
wasn't
know
there-
the same people that I have
Well,
will always
if
be
it
there,
wasn't
like
there-
you, my mother.
Right.
So I don't need the outside world outside of
Well,
mine.
let me say. Do you feel like you need to interact with the outside world?
Over the last couple months, yes, that's what's been prominently more. Is that I
What
feel
if
like
I
have
told
to
you
interact.
can't change that?
But if I do the opposite of
When,
what I
what if
feel
I
like,
told you
people
when you
think
wake
I'm an
up and
asshole.
take a shit in a piss, you dealing with the outside world. Even when you talk to your mother, your sister, your cousin, your brother, your husband, wife, and everything in between. That's the outside world. Would that make sense to you?
Yes, it does. It does.
So you're saying that you
What's
find.
the inside world? Have you ever thought about that?
Well, you're saying.
What is-
I hear what you're saying. You're saying that you find happiness, like you trying to find your
Not
center.
happiness, but
Well,
measurement.
Well, he's trying to find his center, and his center is from the way that he understands it, as opposed to like I don't need a vibe off of other people to understand it, because I think what's true to you, and you probably already reached this conclusion. I think you have an incredible capacity for empathy, and I think that's reached that's been chaotic for you because you dealt with individuals that that are not as conducive to your lifestyle as you
And I
probably would
realized
have wanted it.
even before the last couple of years, I've been doing this my life. It turns out, so this is what I do. I cut out. And
So you're trying to find home, you're trying to find base, and then from that base, you're trying to build out. But so you're trying to make sense of it from that perspective, where you're just like, okay, what is it that I want, and then let me build on to that. Not that I don't need anybody, but all right, well, let me find out what I want as an individual, and then from that, now I'm ready to interact with the outside world in a way that's conducive to what my wants and needs are. I think I could follow that. So it's not so much like, oh, I don't need
but
anybody.
a lot of people call me by that definition: selfish, narcissistic, and like.
Yeah, but that's not like, I mean, I think everybody's on the spectrum somewhere. Like nobody's like 100% altruistic. No one's 100% narcissistic. I think everybody's on the spectrum, because I mean, like even like if you say Mary Teresa was 100% altruistic, then why do we all know her name? Like she was just like, I'm so altruistic that I want nobody to know my name.
Most people don't know how to control their emotions. This is what makes me hate emotions. It's like anger seems like a prominent thing most people feel.
Okay.
It's like, and I don't like acting out of emotions for no reason.
Okay.
I always think about what I do, especially with emotions, and this is
okay. And to kind of link it back to what George is saying, so like instead of saying like well, most people like instead like, or at least the way that I see it, like I don't know 3 billion people, so I can't say most people do this thing. So, but I could say like
it in most people.
But I could say that
Because it's
like,
your perception.
I don't like to feel, and I think it's okay to be vulnerable. To be like,
absolutely.
I don't like to be vulnerable in this dynamic, or I don't like to think about what other people need and want, because I can't. I hate to, like for me in particular, like I hate to hear about other people who are going through wild shit that I can't do anything about.
Right.
If it's like some wild shit, I was like, oh, that's fucked up. Let me talk to you about it. If it's some wild shit, like, oh man, I could let you borrow $100, you know. But if it's some wild shit, like, oh, you're $40 in the hole, like, I got nothing for you. Like, I can't do nothing. And like, I hate hearing about that. So like, I think it's important to be like, so I'm honest and I'm vulnerable about that. Where I'm just like, I can't watch the first 48. I can't watch crime shows and stuff like that. I hate bad shit happening to other people, because like that feels
still
bad.
kind of somewhat in the hole, and I'm not.
But you
aware
notice
of it.
throughout life,
and I think
And how do I
you
get
end
out
up
of that?
dealing
the
with it.
best way to get out of it, I think, is to be comfortable
You end up
being
dealing with it,
vulnerable
one way
with
or
yourself.
another.
Just being
Last
like,
time I did that fucked me up. That's probably why I have this.
be vulnerable with the right people. Boom, 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 boom. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be vulnerable with a significant other that you choose to be with. Like, I know ideally that's what you would want to be, but then like if that goes south, then all of a sudden your world is rocked. You know, whereas You know, if you find like if you have a center, like your friend's family, it's like, oh, okay, boom. Now I have a center, and like I find I have solidarity with these people, and I can be honest with these people.
There's more clarity we can actually see.
Yeah. Then when things don't go right, you'd be like, oh man, guess it didn't work out. Yeah.
But in a sense, you do need people.
Yeah.
I've been realizing
Somebody got to be able to pull your jacket and say, "Look, man."
Yeah. Just don't put it all into the wrong person. Don't put it all.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, yeah, I know the significant other is like your number one voluntary relationship that you're gonna want, you choose to be in versus family. It's like, oh, it's what you're born into, but you know, or circumstantial friends and whatnot. But
You will
it's like,
find a lot of good things though in other people.
yeah. But like, I have family that I don't
Being an
talk
introvert
to
is
at
a
all.
phase.
Yeah.
It lasts. Don't. I'm the
Yeah.
same way. Don't think that I'm not an introvert and I'm autonomous.
Yeah.
See, I move.
you probably just learned a lot more ahead of me.
Because you
I'm
can't
still
trust
young.
everybody. There are predators out there.
Yeah.
You know. But that's the risk in living. You got to be able to do that. But you can measure different people and calculate their energy and how they move, the fluctuation of what they do, the way that they talk, the words, body language, and then that's where you get your measurement from.
Outside of that, I'm trying to I think I might have a control issue.
Hey, welcome to Earth. We all got that. Control issues. What? Everybody, we all wanted control, right?
Yeah, in some capacity.
Yeah. Control is actually good. Huh?
Well, I mean, like,
You
I
see,
don't want to say,
I don't
like,
understand how they take that and make it a negative thing. Like things don't have to have a certain level of control. It wouldn't exist if it was otherwise.
I remember talking to this one person, and they were talking about, they were asking me, oh, are you part of any organization that discriminates against any particular group? And I was like, no way. And he's like, yes, you are. You're part of a fraternity. You're part of this. I was like, no, it doesn't do that. It's like, well, do you let girls join the fraternity? He's like, no. And he's like, well, then you're part of a group that discriminates against another group of people. And I was like, no, but it's not like that. And he's like, and he brought his like, hey, listen. It's not. He's like, discrimination. I don't mean it like in a bad term, in a negative connotation.
Yeah, well,
So you take
discrimination
it that
is discrimination.
way. Yeah. But he's like, essentially, that's what he taught me. He's like, words matter.
I would
It's like-
even look at that as like, okay, why is that looked at as a bad negative thing?
Right. Like, is it?
What's
a bad thing?
really wrong with it?
Right. Is there?
Because
anything
if it
wrong
was
with
something that was so bad about it, why does it exist?
And not to say that not everything bad.
I just want. I would like. Why is it a such thing as the term discrimination? Where does it come from?
Right. And like,
Why did us human beings say that it's something that we gonna discriminate on? It's,
and
even
that's
if
the,
the circumstances
back
are
down to
right,
perspective.
I still don't
Yeah,
like it.
and-
I don't want it. Whatever the case.
Because
Right.
if you want to go on that type of ticket of discrimination, let's talk about what
But you
recently
discriminate.
happened. What
We
recently
all
happened.
discriminate. See, but what one thing is about that, they take the term and apply it to human beings and make it a race thing.
I was about to say
It's
now,
not about that. It's not about the race.
Dave
but listen,
Chappelle. Dave Chappelle.
all right,
What
we
about
gotta
that
talk
happened
about
with him?
this. But that's good. That's good. You're right.
boy.
You're right. But I tell you what,
You can discriminate on a certain beer you don't like to drink,
But
or food you don't like to eat. You can discriminate on a hair on. It's
Hairstyles,
anything on a particular shirt or pants,
What were you gonna say?
an earring. Or something. You can discriminate on a game.
Wait,
Yeah.
It's not discrimination. It's called
Look at the
either
term.
an opinion or sometimes it can be
Okay,
taken.
what's the definition of discrimination?
But opinion can be discrimination. Like, cause discrimination is like.
Yes, see, now you talk. See,
Yeah.
Or is
there
the
you
world
go.
too sensitive?
There you go. No. Follow
This is
on
what I'm
this
saying.
one.
Because
It's
I
good.
was kind of talking about how, like, because certain things we try to oversimplify things as bad as right and wrong, and I think and like George was saying, like that's a bad thing because it's like. Yeah, funny enough. That's a bad thing versus the right thing. No, but it's something that, like, if you do it, it's you can. I mean, not like we're not the arbiters of everything right and wrong.
Yeah, no.
But as you can, but you're gonna miss certain messages that the world has to offer.
Yes.
If you try to simplify things as right and wrong. And if you look at things that's more complex than that, like you're gonna be able to appreciate the complexity.
You can appreciate it.
And you'll be able to
You can
understand
appreciate
things.
discrimination.
That boils me down to
Listen.
Chappelle with the point
Yeah.
of humor. Do you really
Yeah.
understand the point of humor?
Wow.
Yeah,
The
that's
point of
powerful.
humor.
That's
I get
the,
you.
yeah.
See,
The point of
That's
humor, man.
the point of humor is the fact to actually laugh something off that's bad. I love dark
Okay,
humor because
yeah.
and this is why I say that discrimination is somewhat a real thing, but it's not completely. Some people
No,
take
it's real.
It is, but they take it.
Not somewhat. It is
I
what
was
it
gonna
is.
say it is because honestly, humor is a coping mechanism that actually helps people filter. But some people take
Yeah.
it in a positive light where it actually builds more.
Yeah, beings like us.
It's in, yeah, that's true. Very true.
Because that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
It just takes.
It's
a certain
necessary.
perspective. That's why I'm like, it is necessary because then in some ways
It
also
involves
makes
the
you
unity
realize.
of opposites, man. That's what
Yes.
it's about. Unity of opposites.
And being honest, because a lot of stuff when I started getting older, I started
but you're
realizing,
still gonna
looking at it
talk
from
shit.
yeah,
You're still gonna want somebody. I don't want them in my household. I don't want this person over here. But you're learning from this individual.
I mean, yeah, even
It's
even
measurement.
true. That's
These
the
people, or
Yeah.
this individual, or this color, or that
to
color.
me, it's being able to take something out of it, either in a positive light or being able to laugh something off to understand you're both connected.
Or take it
It's
in the
like-
negative. It's okay to be mad at shit sometimes, and
Yeah.
things
True,
don't
too.
work the way you want it to work,
Yeah, but it's
and
like,
people piss you off.
and if you think about like
That is okay.
And-
I think that we got away from it. It's like, it's almost like you can't be mad at shit or something.
yeah,
That's ridiculous.
yeah. Or
We
you
have
can't-
emotions, bro. It's good to
right, or you can't like not understand something. Like it's bad to not understand something.
Yes.
It's like, well, not everybody's gonna understand everything
I feel
everywhere. Always.
Yes, no.
Like, it's impossible.
It takes time.
Yeah. I mean, that phrase in and of itself, but like if you're a person who understands everything in all walks of life, always, forever, all the time, then you will be able to understand that someone who discriminates
Okay,
against
well,
you.
my thing is, why are you here?
Yeah, well,
If
like
you know everything, and you know what?
yeah,
You get your
well,
hands
like,
over it.
yeah,
All right.
like
I'm
if you-
trying to learn something.
Well, if you understand everything, it's like, well, why are you chastising this person
Yeah.
for just being of a different walk of life? Because you understand everything, then you would have to be able to understand this person,
Yes.
even if they're limited. Like for example, like I appreciate like back in the day when Malcolm X, after he came back from Mecca, he was talking about like, I know there's something that white people can provide, something, but he's like, look, I'm 100% against. I like the Islam
Yeah,
religion
concept
because of what it provides to my people.
Okay.
About staying off of drugs,
That's true.
don't abuse these substances,
Mhm.
the importance of family.
It was more so about him
so like
helping the-
being centered and helping his particular group of people.
Right, right.
And it's just like, and it's important
No
for us.
type of-
Yeah, and it's like it's not so much about integration. It's not about segregation. It's about desegregation. Don't
Yes.
tell me that I have to be Remember the Titans. Don't tell me that I have to be part of the Black Panthers. Just tell me like I have the option
goes back-
to do whatever I want
this
to do,
goes back-
and that way it's like, hey, if you want to be with your own kind, do it.
Mm-hmm.
Do it. Like Muhammad Ali. Blue Jays should be Blue Jays and red, whatever. If you want to do that, do it. If
Right.
you want to be a Blue Jay and want to be with a woodpecker, do it.
Right.
And then those people who are going to push the narrative in terms of diversification, and the people who are just going to stick to their own are going to push the narrative in terms of when
And
it
guess
comes
what?
to
The
culture of
majority
who they
was
are.
into what? Everybody being together.
Yeah.
The majority.
Yeah. And see, and that's
Because
the thing.
that
problem was
how
never-
can you have a society that
Like the problem was never with segregation. The problem was with the inequality of segregation.
right?
And so it's like that's why it was really interesting. Like we shouldn't get mad at people for not wanting to accept everybody.
Even better resources.
Yeah, that's a big thing. So it's like, but like it's up to your decision. So it's like instead of forcing the Negro Leagues to disassemble, why don't you just give people the option of, hey, if you're a black baseball player and you want to be part of the Negro League, you can do that. Continue to do that. If
Right.
you're a black baseball player and you want to be part of the MLB, go ahead and do that. There's a lot more money for you there.
Right,
There's a lot
right,
less
right.
money for you in the Negro League.
Right.
But then what that's going to create is there's going to be a Negro League with people making less money, very talented, and people in the MLB maybe even less talented than
Right, right.
that. just said that twice. But what
it's an opportunity.
Yeah, you do what you want. You have the freedom to do what you want to do, as opposed to being forced to do one thing or another.
Because literally nobody has to say, okay, you can learn here or you can play here or you can. They don't have to. Why? Mm-hmm. Unless it reaps a reward or a benefit.
Yeah.
In any situation, Negro leagues or anything.
I mean, taking that out is like, oh well, let's take black business away. Negro League is an example of a successful black business.
Yes.
We'll destroy that.
Okay, but why did they incorporate Negro League?
Well, they didn't have to
allow it.
They incorporated Negroes into the MLB. They didn't incorporate Negro Leagues because they don't want you to have your own self-sustaining system.
Yeah,
they wanted you. They created this whole after like Jim Crow.
But what if I played devil's advocate and I said they actually did want you to do that?
No. I think what it is
to see if you would.
No, but this is what
because you can't.
I think the majority
ownership.
Majority of people didn't think that black people would be successful on their own. They didn't think that they would be able to be a Negro League, let alone a successful one.
Right.
They don't think there would be a Black Wall Street, let alone a successful one.
I was about to say Black Wall Street.
They didn't think there would be successful black businesses. Successful black businesses. They didn't think that we'd be able to do that. But the thing that they failed to understand is history and context. Black people are people who hail from a continent. I mean, we're all here from Africa, but black people in particular spent a little bit more time.
There were black people here too.
Yeah, but it's like
that's the first
of humankind, the first Australopithecus.
Oh yeah. That's mankind.
Hailed in the African continent.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like in Europe, you had predictable weather patterns. You could be in this city, you could be in this city, you could build cities, you could do this, There's no place in Africa like that. The only place in Africa that's kind of like that is along the Nile River. Right. And they even try to strip that away from us, talking about the Empire of Egypt as opposed to the Empire of Kemet. Where it's it's an African empire, it's a black-skinned empire, where Egypt is a satellite country. But that being said, it's like black people hail from a group that have been known to be resilient. Even though we don't have predictable weather patterns, we don't have deers to hunt. No, we have creatures that hunt us.
Yes.
We don't have diseases to overcome. We have diseases that try to kill us.
Right.
Like we come from a continent that's rife in that. And even despite all that, we still fucking thrive.
Still
thrive. And no matter where we are, no matter what continent on the earth that we end up on, we are still thriving. We are still resilient. Yeah. That's the truth of it. And they didn't understand that because they try to push this narrative.
And that is a collective.
Yeah. And that's diving into something deep. But like they try to dive into.
Wow.
They try to they made this assumption that black people are less than. And since black people are less than, then there's no way that you can create XYZ. So I don't think they never anticipated that we would be able to create these systems that were conducive to our growth, environment, and productivity. But we were. We were able to learn how to teach ourselves how to read while being enslaved. We were able to teach ourselves how to be lawyers while we had a system that actively, lawfully worked against us, that we were lawfully less than. So
what is the issue in the modern time right now? Why?
Family.
Well, bringing it all together. I'll just say it from a generic sense. I mean, I don't focusing on black people.
You're right.
The issue.
Everything you said was right.
This is an issue actually in a first world country.
Right now, what affects
in
us
a first world country, the issue is family.
Yeah, it's family. Because before, we used to think,
our family, it's not about race, it's at a decrease. Doesn't matter white or
They used
black.
to think this way about us.
The family
now,
structure is
we think this way about us. When black people think about black people, they think about the negative mentality. They think about, we're less than.
And we're not as smart.
But it's a reason for that because if you a black person collective at a collective level, I don't consider myself black. I'm not black. So I just got it. Just me as an individual, okay? Mm-hmm. I don't fit in with that black thing, okay? Or white. I'm outside of that particular fluctuation of
this
energy.
is part of my reason.
Now, but it's a collective that deals with that. Okay. Now, I'm not saying I'm not a part of it. Like I don't understand it. I get it. You know what I'm saying? But I don't consider myself that as far as for a title.
This part of
I'm
my
not a
reason
black
being
person
somewhat just
or a
kind of
damn
quiet
white
or staying to
person or
myself
none.
because the people that I typically run
That's
into wants
that's
to
a
be
government
a part of something.
classification.
And if I be honest, if anybody asks me what I'm a part of, I don't really want to be a part of Black Lives Matter. Don't want to be a part of the feminist movement, the LGBT
No, that's all
movement. I don't
commercial
believe
stuff.
in the. But this is the thing. In this generation, it's you have to be a
It's the
part.
main
And the thing is,
strength.
all of them are trying to gain some type of
what
power
did you just
that
say?
doesn't apply
You
to
said you have to.
All of them.
You don't have to do anything.
Yeah, all of them are trying to push this narrative.
You don't have to
of
do that.
lazy propaganda.
Yeah.
Either you're part of this or you're the scum of the earth. And it's like, all right, cool. Like,
Right, stay away from that.
Your simplistic way of thinking, and the problem is that people in this day and age think that they're so advanced, so much more advanced than anybody who's ever existed. They don't understand that the things that they're arguing about is things that they've already argued about centuries ago.
Yep, it's in the
It's already happened. They're in books in the libraries that you go to school for 13 years out your life, and you still don't fucking know.
And this is the thing that I don't like about the
Basics.
modern age. The modern age, I started realizing it's not really
Basics.
based off of what they use. They use that thing to benefit what benefits them. Half of them are entitled. They walk around talking about this stuff, but when something is contradictive of what they believe, then they use the other way, and they say, well, it applies this way because they're playing a victim role or who are so moving through. And this is how
when you
most
say
people
they,
move.
I keep telling you, you hold a mirror up to yourself.
Self, yes, but
Always hold the mirror to yourself. Always. Because they are you. Because the they is the perception of your visual, of your outlook on the world. That's your perception.
okay, let me put it this way. Most modern,
Because that's what you see.
like,
Go ahead.
most modern perspectives of my generation is literally trying to be a part of something, and I don't fit into that category.
Okay.
With it.
Like,
And I think that's why words matter. Because
you got to form it. That's why I said that.
Terminology.
Yeah.
There you go.
It matters.
It's just.
And you're right about that. You're right.
No, and that's the thing. I don't get that part. It's like a lot of people are more sensitive to what applies to them. They don't actually think about what applies to everybody else.
That's true.
It's like
That's true.
it's getting a lot worse though.
Open it. What you talking about? Oh,
He's way more serious than I am. I can't even do that.
no, you good. You good.
That just amazed me. I don't know you can do it with your teeth. That's like
Me too.
Desperate times.
I found out how to do it with a lighter.
I can't.
Yeah, that's what going back to the whole. I don't know. We're jumping all over the place.
I
But
can't.
yeah, man.
You said this one was about anything.
It's all
good.
related. It's all
It's good,
related.
it is.
Because I'm already coming up with the next
You gotta
ones if
tie-
we
you
really
gotta
do this.
tie it.
First thing is marriage. Second
For
thing
sure.
is dealing with people on the individual level. I
Yeah.
would have to say.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
but like trying to link it back to like
That's actually the best thing.
dealing with people on an individual
Yes.
level. Yeah, because
You gotta
when you
practice
break
that.
down politics, it's like at
When
the
you start to
smallest
travel,
level,
yes,
it's just
you're gonna
one-on-one
come across
interactions.
different people.
Yeah.
Me, I actually I like using the term "hold the mirror to yourself" because I look at myself and when I'm talking to somebody, I gotta literally put myself in their shoes to see how they perceive me.
But we also said recently that
Because
I am
how
very
you
much
come off
capable
is
of empathic
well,
capabilities.
How you come off is
I have
very
already
important.
done that. It's the fact
Because
that I'm trying to figure out.
You can look like something, and most people will judge you based on your physicality.
True. That's very true.
Okay,
That's
they're
very
gonna
true.
look at your
Yeah.
lips, your teeth, your eyes,
Yeah.
everything.
Your dress.
We
how you
all
walk,
do it.
How are you talking?
Yes.
Yeah.
So-
okay. You present yourself
so-
this way. Oh, what do you
Now-
do for a living? Because
Yeah, well-
I'm not really curious in what you do. I'm trying to make a judgment based upon what you
judgment.
do. Yeah.
It's a measure.
Yeah. I'm trying to, and it's not, for better or for worse, it's not a good thing.
It's a
like,
form of
hey,
appraisal.
Yeah.
Guess what?
Yeah.
It's good
Yeah.
for you. You need it because somebody they're gonna open the door. They're gonna say, "Oh, you know what? No, this guy. I talked to him, or whatever the case may be. He's good. The way whatever. You know what I'm saying? It could be anything.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, now you get in the next business venture or whatever the case may be. Or the next thing to help you out with your mental health, your spiritual health, your physical health.
Yeah.
Stop overthinking. I would say more so with me.
I don't really believe in all that.
Well, it's not overthinking because it's like for real. I mean, going back.
You're supposed to think what's overthinking.
Yeah. I mean, well, the thing is like the
Just
reason.
don't overthink on things that's necessary for you to do.
Or at least be aware when you are overthinking, and just know like, oh, I'm overthinking, or I'm making these predictions of discriminations or profiles based off of what I see.
Block the thoughts.
That might not be necessarily what it is.
Now that's using the logical mind.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta just get things done. Just get it done. Just like when you get a learner's permit, a license. Okay, fuck Timmy and all these guys. They call it whatever you want to play the game on. You gotta cut all that stuff off. What do you gotta do? Sit there, take the test. You know, write your stuff down. Go take the test.
Weird you said that.
Get it
That's
done.
actually what I'm doing right now.
You see what I'm saying? That's logical. It's not about the world or any of these other thoughts you might have. It's just simple. This is what you want. You want the license. Get the license.
Yeah.
It works like that for your career, everything.
Yeah.
So you got to be logical with certain things that you want so that you can have a gain from it. Fuck the world and everybody. I mean.
No, I feel it. Hey, fuck the world, man. But it's like, yeah, we're talking about what right and wrong, like that's all perspective. Cause and effect. Like we were talking about that, like versus right and wrong, because it's like, you know, if someone's right could be someone else's wrong. It's better to look at things as cause and effect. Genius, huh? I'm exposed. I'm exposed.
I actually like that term.
Yeah.
Exposed.
Yeah. Kanye West is a genius. I'm exposed. He calls himself a genius.
Hey. You need to put I should go to different places like graves and stuff. Is there really that many different people out here that you can actually experience?
There's
different perspectives.
There's a lot of different people, but it's like the best kind of interaction that you have is on a person-to-person level. You could go out to these places and you could interact with these people, and then like you find someone who you kind of vibe with, and you talk to them and you kind of like hang out with them, and then you could go to a deeper level. But for real, like I 100% value one-on-one interactions. Like, yo, let's move away from this and let's just talk one-on-one.
And you're great at that. It's like.
Right. Yeah.
Like
You're way better than you think you are.
Now that I've known you for a while, I talk to you. I don't understand that. You see, anti-social.
That's what I'm saying. You are a rock star in disguise. You are a rock star in disguise.
You would think that wouldn't you think that I'm like an antisocial guy or something? Bro.
From my perspective, wait,
I had a rough upbringing, particularly, but I did have a good chance to move around the world.
From my perspective, you always seem more cool. That's why, like, outgoing.
But I don't understand. You don't. You. It seems like you look down on yourself and you shouldn't. You got a lot, man. A lot of gifts.
I don't understand.
You got a lot of gifts, bro.
Well, it's like what's his name? What's the name of?
First off,
was it
you can talk to somebody
D'Angelo?
like me.
D'Angelo was that one.
You got a lot.
Who's that?
It's hard to talk to me, bro. I'm an alumni. You know what I'm saying? I deal with a lot of shit. You know, we deal with like retirement portfolios, all of those shit. Just long term things. That's why I was telling you about like perception, long term thinking, and stuff like that. Family and things like that. Because I'm a grown man. But bro, you don't need to be antisocial. The world is waiting for you. There's people just waiting to hear you. You know.
Yeah, it's just interaction.
And you're an artist by nature. You got drawings, and I've seen all of that.
You know, it's wild because like I remember.
But don't let family members and friends and things like that hold you back from your purpose. We all got one.
Yeah.
Every last one of us.
Like I remember, like I used to go out every like Thursday and Friday. Like Thursday is tattoo parlor, DC, and Fridays is Bravo Bravos, DC. Like that was just a regular thing. Every now and then I go out Saturdays, maybe Ultra Bar, maybe Cuba Libre, maybe some random spot in Bethesda. Like one time I saw Daryl Young come in. I was like, oh, look at this guy. Like, I ain't all that big. He comes in, he's like, hey, what's up? You're like, all right, you know, he's a linebacker, or Redskins, whatever. This guy, he's over there. He's just chilling. He's hanging out with his friends. He takes off his jacket, and my man's I was about to say thighs. His biceps are bigger than my thighs. Like his biceps are bigger than my. I was like, what though? What is that? Like my man just walking around like pure muscle, biceps bigger than my thighs. I'm like, what is that? I was just like, oh yeah, that's right. This guy works out for a living. Right. So I was just like, it's like those are cool interactions, and I live this lifestyle like every week, at least minimum two nights a week. But even with all that, I still felt like, man, I'm not really.
It's also good to jog and work out.
Yeah, I'm not.
That'll even more.
Yeah.
Thoughts just.
And I always felt like I'm not really interacting with people. Like I felt, even though I was out and about doing this and experiencing things with all these different people, I still felt like I was by myself. And I was like, the fuck is that? Like, I mean, I'm out here with the same cast. Like, I have a core group of 4 people. We went out and we did live life and we interacted with all these other people. Right. But I still felt like I was isolated. I still felt alone. I was like, yo, what's going on? Right. And like, I remember like I was coming out of a bad relationship and I was like, I'm just going to come out here and have fun. And I went out there and I did have fun, but I still felt alone. Right. And then like I come to realize
like there's no connection with.
Exactly.
I mean, you're with people.
I'm with people, but I'm not connecting with anybody. Yeah.
Oh man, many times.
Yeah.
But see, that's a pioneer energy right there. I call that because that's what it takes for you to succeed. Really, to just be
go
uncomfortable.
Just go out there.
Now think about that. You were uncomfortable.
Get comfortable.
Being uncomfortable. I was just thinking
100%. And that's what
you did not know any of these.
Yeah. And that's what Ray did for me because like I go out with these clubs, they're cool, whatever. But when I go out to the Paradise, when I go out to these random festivals, like these cats are wild. These cats, and I don't. It 100% might have been the drugs that they're on, but these cats are like out there. And I'm just like, I've never felt so comfortable in my life, and with all these people who are super comfortable being who they are.
And so you felt the most at home.
And I didn't, and that's not like, and I mess around with different stuff.
Chaos?
I mess around with different
stuff.
Pretty much. But when I was out there with the chaos, I wasn't messing around with the chaos. Like I wasn't in.
Well, people made you. They hugged you and loved you. And
I remember these random people were like,
amazing.
I remember we were going out this one place.
That is amazing.
We were going out to this one place. It was like, it is amazing. We were going out to this one place. It started storming.
I mean, I
like
experienced it for myself. That's why I said it because I know what you mean.
Yeah, and it's great. It's
I got 36 years around the sun. I know what you
That's
mean.
It. Right That's it.
Holy shit! I thought you was like 30 or so.
No,
36.
That's the power of youth, bro. He found the fountain of youth.
For real, you look good for 36, bro.
But I flip it around and I say 63. So,
hey, oh my god.
Yeah, because my father, he was like 50.
I remember that
50s.
day.
Yeah. Only sons.
Yeah, man.
Old sperms.
Yo. These swimmers like, I know the breaths.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him. And here I come. Bow.
But it's
like I'm gonna put a boy out there somewhere.
Yeah. But then,
yeah, sister in Japan, sister in California. Well, they all moved to Maryland actually. But
crazy.
4 sisters total on his side.
Japan? One of the sisters?
One
of my sisters. Yeah.
I'm an artist. How did she like that? I was about to say because I know Japan is one of the greatest places for one.
I got nephews and nieces. What's to say that? And they older than me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. Ireland is, there's some places that are welcoming, you know what I mean? But well, yeah, like just like when you have like a, and not to say like, oh, raves are the end all and be all, but like when you have someone like who's tripping like that, and they're just having an authentic experience, and they interact with you, it's an authentic conversation.
Yes.
And that's so much better than anything that you can ever fucking go out and pay
it's
for.
nothing you can compare.
There's nothing,
An authentic experience is nothing you can compare. And I'm talking about with people.
Yeah.
Like what we having right now.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
100%.
This is what they call as priceless. Like that's why I say family, marriage and stuff, because you're not going to get it from nowhere else. You can start rapping, sell art and everything.
So it's more so about being genuine.
Well, think about what he just said.
Yeah. More about
and his ventures, right?
More about being
He's working, he's communicating with people, okay? He's going to different places, right? Now, he's with people,
that he relate to a certain degree, right?
Mhm.
From work and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's not a holistic feeling. It's not. And he meeting others, certain people, whatever the case may be. It's not holistic though.
Yeah.
It's not. It's like okay, I still feel alone.
It's a snapshot. It's a snapshot.
It's a snapshot.
Like and like I didn't even go out
Still
trying.
feel alone.
Yeah. I didn't go out trying to do this one thing or like another. Every now and then it's like, hey, I was blessed with good experiences, but it was more so like I went out just trying to feel. I just wanted to feel wanted by somebody
Wholehearted.
else, and just like
Yes.
and I had a lot of cool,
Authenticity,
wholehearted
just regular
experiences
plain-
with
Yes.
different people, and
Now,
as
Rob,
cool as those were,
I got a question
it
for
was
you.
it was such a
personally.
snapshot.
Where do you get that from? Authenticity, just real raw shit, whatever. Just from family. I mean, well, you might sometimes meet certain people outside at work.
Yeah. I mean, it's experiences that I've had. Like,
But you're gonna get
yeah,
emotion from yourself
fans,
too.
yeah.
I feel like authenticity
but
comes from
I've had-
emotional stability.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
comes
yeah,
from
exactly.
it comes
Yeah.
from
For the
understanding
most
When you
yourself.
secure within.
Exactly.
100%.
When you know
100%.
yourself.
Yeah. Because like you could have the best family. Because I've been around people who had the best family,
but it's
best background,
dysfunctional,
the
man.
best tools in the world, and still come out all kinds of
still
broken.
felt different, but you always felt the outside.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, like it doesn't matter what you do for somebody, it doesn't matter what's done for them, but it's what they're willing to do and the decisions that they're willing to make for themselves.
For
And
themselves,
they get
yeah.
to,
You feel like
Because it's
if
still
they get their-
survival.
Yeah. You get their
It's
mind in
survival.
the right way instead of being like, okay, well, and I'm just gonna try to make it, like 12 Years a Slave. Admittedly, I've never seen it, but I watched
it's
this.
a perfect movie.
But I saw the first scene and I was like, I can't. This is too deep. but there was I saw this one scene where this guy's like, hey, what are you doing, man? Like you can't do that. You gotta do this. You gotta in order to survive. And the guy's like, I don't want to survive. I want to live.
Yeah.
Which is fine because I think because when I'm coming up with topics, it's like goals. Yeah. Say something. Okay, don't say nothing.
Relationships are hard, though, man. Like family.
You know what's crazy about
It's
that?
never good.
Yeah.
Holding down a family.
Yeah. As hard as that is, like we all know like firsthand like how hard it is to interact with one person. Like that how complex
Just
that
one.
can be, and just one person. And then it's like there's people in charge of like more than 750,000 people. And it's like, and to pretend that we like, oh, this person knows 100% what it is versus that person is like, that's ridiculous. That's crazy. Like without a fathom of a doubt, you know for sure this person represents 750,000 people.
Right.
That's like people. Like again, people could be.
What if he was a person that run a country or he was involved in that? Can you imagine?
It's crazy. It's too overwhelming. Like I mean, if you could really understand the
You
breadth
have to do
of what it
logistics.
is.
You got cargo ships, planes, everything coming in here.
Yeah.
All of the tax dollars. You can't be emotional about that stuff.
Well, that's the thing. Like I mean, I remember I was doing this thing with this nonprofit working with homelessness in DC, and which is awesome. There's a lot of groups in DC and they do a lot of good things, and it was like a board meeting, and we were talking about we were meeting with a representative from the city council on like how much money to or why it's necessary for us to get X amount of money from them in order to do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And it's like, all right, it's all good. And we had like this nonprofit from us, man. We had this nonprofit from whatever other affordable housing. This one from affordable dwelling units. This one from the homeless organization in DC General. We had all different kind of representatives just coming together talking about the problems that we have and how to go move forward. Blah 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 blah. So
Those are people with the funding.
Right. Well, like we have the people who represented the people, and talking to the people who represented the funding. And so it's like, because it's all linked together. Because it's like, okay, well,
is.
you know, people living in the city, you know, have an invested interest to make sure that X amount of homeless people, you know, had something to go by, so they're not out here running buck wild. So, but anyway, like, this meeting was just about like, hey, we need this for that and this for this. Like, it's important, and it's important for people to know the details. But then it devolved into a conversation about these two people representing homeless communities, and one was focused on telling everybody how hard it was to be a woman and homeless, and another person who was representing another group who was talking about how hard it is to be black and homeless. Not to say that those issues don't matter, but it's really prevalent. But like right now, we're talking about getting, putting a price tag on it,
And then just black.
Yeah, like the black man's like, oh, if I'm a black man out here, and like they're looking at me
Not a
sideways.
black man, a woman, and then just being black.
Yeah, like
We're
it.
talking about stuff like that. It depends on what's being a man, what's being a woman. You can see the contradictives on being a man versus being a woman.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
told
and
to
everything in
provide,
between.
We're also, anytime we show what we're supposed to, we're kind of condemned.
Mm-hmm.
We're always told to express emotions, and when we do, we're looked at as a bitch.
Yeah.
Or versus when we're actually trying to get shit done, we're looked at as a fuckboy or somebody that's
Cold-hearted,
controlling.
yeah.
Like, so how do you really find the intermediate between there?
It's
This is
impossible.
my issue.
Yeah. It's like it feels nice to pontificate. I'm gonna put this bad boy in the middle because man, we keep talking about this all the goals. But like we feel the need to pontificate on like what's like we need this, we need that, and this is what's important, this is what's not important. But instead of just being like, all right, well, I don't know what it is to be this, but to be honest, like again, if you're talking to a politician could get less of a fuck about how you feel. They'll pretend to care about how you feel, but they don't care. Like you're not gonna sit here and tell this heartwarming story, and the politician's like, "Wow, I never heard that.
They
You're
got an
going through
agenda.
this serious. Oh my God, it's so terrible. I'm gonna make sure I'll give you everything that you ever want and need." That never happens. Throughout the history of politicking, I promise you that's never happened. Not once. Like I mean, it's in the name. Politics. Poly means many. Ticks, blood-sucking insects.
Antics,
That's
yeah.
what it is.
Sex.
Let's call it what it. But no, I mean, I'm poking fun. I'm poking fun a little bit.
Poking fun, but it's not kind of, it shows a little bit of reality.
But for real, it's like they have to represent. All right, let's say you're talking to a congressman on the federal level, 435 of them, representing 320 million people across the country.
Right.
If you divide that up, that's that they're each representing 750,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
We already know how hard it is to talk to one person and be able to coordinate with them and to communicate how you feel about that X, Y, and Z thing with one person. About things that you both feel the same, might be on the same side about.
It's the same thing we were talking about, where's perspective, and when you're dealing on a larger scale, it's kind of harder.
The harder it is, harder it is on a larger scale than it is on a small scale. But people have this illusion in their minds thinking that if I tell this really heartfelt story, I'm going to change this person's mind. Let me tell you. Yeah. But if you're talking to, I mean, how many people have you met, begging for money on the side of the road over the course of your life? Maybe 120. You are desensitized to like, man, I'm not gonna give this person money. I'm gonna go get them a sandwich and see if they accept that. Because so think about 750,000 people. 150,000 people, you gonna listen to the heartfelt story and think, oh, in an environment that encourages you to lie?
Right.
You give a shit?
Right.
Please.
Become susceptible to that type of
Mm-hmm.
ideology. Okay.
All that to say that politicians aren't, it's not that politicians are selfish. It's just that at the very least, even if they all care and they're all altruistic, at the very least, they're all desensitized from the emotional strife of the individual person. So your individual struggle isn't going to move the politician to do one thing versus another.
Yeah.
So it's like for you to say
They have an agenda.
exactly.
Which goes back down to why I believe
And the agenda has to be
people
funded.
think like when people talk about anarchy and stuff like that. I be joking about that, but really the only way to really have a proper system is to kind of disperse the system that's already set because it's based off of a two-party system, and everybody has an ideology. It's more so based off of boiling down to what works for the individual, but. See, at the same time, how does
Most systems are based off what benefits the ruling class.
True. And that's nothing
Or the
I learned
exceptional
about
violent.
world building. It's about class,
It's all about
race.
what works.
It's about everything that applies together, and that's. But that also shows you how humans really see everybody. It's like it has to be some type of control of power.
But everybody
the
are
1%
humans.
has to be.
See? Even though you think it's people looking down upon you, they humans too. Their perception is different. I think essentially everybody got their best interests at heart. And when I mean best interests, I'm just talking about survival.
100%.
You got flowers and trees and stuff in your backyard. You know,
So what makes certain survival different from other survival? What makes people think certain
survival is
so
survival.
malicious?
Well, I think it's not just about survival. Oh man, what a great
yes, it's
what a
more than
what a,
that. That's
what a
true.
great
You're
segue.
right.
Into Squid Games. It's
Right,
not
right.
all about survival.
it's not all about survival.
It's not all about survival.
So
It's also about luxury too, and the way you want things.
And the way you want to feel.
Yeah.
So I think some people just want to. Oh, some people just have different people have different goals in mind, and some people just want to be entertained. Some people just want
Entertainment is a huge deal.
Yeah.
I call that immediate
And the rule-
gratification.
and the
But
ruling
entertainment
class-
is just immediate
If you have
gratification.
everything,
That's
what else is your purpose? What would you do if you just have everything?
In a ruling
I mean, you got
class-
everything. You got as much money as you want, houses, cars. You can travel the world whenever you want. What else is there for you?
From my perspective.
Entertainment. I'm just gonna fuck with niggas.
It depends on your perspective. Like you said, that's not mine. Mine's
Can
just to
you-
have a utopia. Honestly, it sounds corny, but I want
That
people
utopia
to
gonna
work
get
together.
bored.
Like
Oh, is it?
that,
Because we are negative, but we can be negative.
I can.
guess so.
But the thing is I never let it out. I know that is a wrong
Can you
concept.
imagine if you had billions of dollars? You travel the world. You done had as much sex as you possibly can have.
It's only if you let it.
Okay, you jerking off in every bathroom, whatever.
Yes.
Okay. Now what
This one
happens?
flushes counterclockwise.
But that also goes back down to the individual of their
Well, what
perspective.
happens? Absolute power. What happens?
And power is the main control, which means that
You're gonna want something different, something new. You're gonna use your money and your influence to do something.
by that definition, then I go back down to the dark psychology trait, which means that nothing matters unless it's a control factor or power. So really, it's just about having power, control, or controlling people through fear. It's no
Well,
matter.
you
get
forgot about
farther
fun.
through. It's
Okay.
And
So
on purpose.
let's dice this up. Let's separate the fun concept. Like, what would you do with absolute power? We could answer that on an individual
You
level.
would be corrupted.
Well, let's answer that on an individual level, and then we'll dice into the entertainment side of it versus any other side of it.
I already know, just based upon human nature, it will corrupt you. Absolute power.
Corrupts
not
absolutely.
completely, but that's also perspective. I believe leaders, typical honest leaders, know how to maneuver those things. The bad side of life and also the good side. They do what's best for the
Start
overall
off
group.
like that.
And even though most of the people in the group might not agree with it, that still is what's best for them.
And
this is where
simplicity-
it comes down to where it's a
And
problem.
simplicity, it starts that way until an individual gets bored. Think about this. I don't mind. You got everything. Like I said before, that's why you got warmongers and people who deal with financial markets and stuff. They got enough money. What happens when you get bored? when you have everything that the world can offer.
But I think
At the taking.
But to go back to his point, like about perspective, I think it's like if what you want is for a utopian society, not for yourself, but for everybody, then the living in the world that you are right now, you don't feel like there is a utopian society, so you're not satisfied with everything, and you're not bored because you're actively trying to fight against the inequalities that exist.
Okay, well, why would you even do that?
Because that's what you.
So you're bored the fact that you're even thinking that way because you say, you know what, I got everything, I want to help people, right?
No, like let's say, like for me, like let's say, because I heard something about $100 million lottery. I don't play the lottery, but I'm pretending that I do. Let's say I won $100 million. Like, all right, what would I do with $100 million? And if I really were to dice it up, like, all right, pay for my folks' place, you know, pay for some places for some people close to me, my mother-in-law, you know, some other people. It's like, all right, like make sure some people are good and like people close to me have the means to be able to don't have to worry about mortgage and they're able to just worry about life and just regular bills.
Right.
And like they'll be able to do like stuff like this rock star over here, be able to do this stuff. But like more so like and then I'm sorry, I just cut you off, but like and pay off my place. And then I would really just I'd probably get a brand new Prius, and I would get like a 4-year-old Highlander or a Sequoia, and then I would get a Camry. Well, because 4-year-olds, like it's still like it's not.
You just say you had $100 million, right?
I said I had $100 million, so I would get a 4-year-old because I don't think it's worth the money to get a brand new car.
The money, you have $100 million.
I know, but it's like the worth of it. Like I don't think
the
it's
worth
like
of what?
The worth of. Well, this is what I said because it goes on to what else I want to do with the money. But like for me personally, like if I had a 4-year-old Sequoia, like I'll be happy. Like let's say if I got a 4-year-old Sequoia, someone who barely used it, and then like a brand. I'll get a
4-year-old Sequoia. You got $100 million.
Rashid, hold on. Rashid, get your ass downstairs. You know better. You do not run in the house. You do not run. Get up. Get out.
You see the Maserati roll past it.
I would hate it. I would hate. No. See, I would love to drive it. I would love to run with it in the racetrack. I would love to ride in the Autobahn with it. I would hate to ride day to day. I would hate to go down to go shopping.
But you have $100 million.
No.
Everything you just said, you would love to do.
Yeah. I would love to do that.
You can do it.
Yeah, but I would do that. But on a day-to-day basis, I would not do it because I would hate that. I would hate to go to a parking lot and worry about if the person I'm parking next to or the person who will park next to me is gonna mark up my car out of jealousy.
At $100 million, you wouldn't have to worry about that. Everything is valet parking.
But I would, because I wouldn't want valet parking. That's not what I want. Like even if I had $100 million and I could get it, I wouldn't want it. I would want.
Okay, but what is it for? See,
no, but
I always deal with tools and what things are used for.
Right. And when I look at a car,
the experience of having that much money, why?
Well, because I have another goal. Because I have another goal in mind. Because like on top of like
if you help.
No. Well,
millions of people.
Well, let me finish.
Then what?
Well, let me finish. Because
what about your enjoyment?
Because I'm not trying to help millions of people. I don't want to altruistically or idealistically. I want to help everybody, and I think I can if I just able to do this on a bigger scale. Right. Just being able to have these conversations on a bigger scale.
It's a great example of this, honestly, right now, where he can still have his fun, like you said, and he can also help other people. Think of Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk.
That's true.
Jeff Bezos make over about 300 billion. You know, there's only 7 billion people. He can give up each person $1 billion, but he will still come out with about like 93 billion dollars. Why doesn't he do it? Everybody can be rich. You know why? Because it breaks the class system. There has to be a system of power. This is the reason why.
I'll bring in two things.
I have $1 billion.
Let me finish.
You could.
Let me finish.
He's following his passion. He's taking his money.
He's doing
and
what he wants to do. Right.
See?
But let me
My thing
finish.
comes like, don't act like you're doing something so empathetic where you're doing it for people. Where if you really want to do something for people based off their minimal life, you can just give them.
Well, it is for people.
Well,
But
Yeah. That's
sometimes
innovation.
you have innovation
Yeah.
pioneering. You have to do what you want to do
Yeah.
so that people can follow.
Well, let
so
me-
that's
let-
why
let
I
me-
say,
let
why
me-
not
well,
buy
well,
the Maserati
and let me-
driving past?
because-
You're $100
because-
million
because-
and you got a Prius.
because I don't want to use all the $100 million for me. I wanna be able to pay for the stuff that I need in order to get around, to get my family around,
And
to be
that
able
would
to
be
take
enough.
vacations.
That makes you-
and
But
that'll
I
be
guarantee
and
you with
that'll be
$100
enough.
million
Wait. Well, that'll be enough for me to like be happy with what I got.
Right.
And then after I dice all that up, I like and even have some money to spend over like get all these vacation spots. I probably only scrape the surface of maybe $2 million. And like after that, there's nothing else that I really
you
want.
said scrape the surface.
Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah,
After he's done with the investments, the family, all that,
I'm
you
scraping.
still have
I'm
to scrape the
scraping.
surface. It's like
$2 million.
$100 million. I haven't even.
No,
finished.
but you only used $2
I'm only using
out of
$2 million.
100.
Yeah, and then after that, all I would really want is just enough money to get by. Me personally, for my happiness, just enough money to get by, and I'll be straight.
or to more
But-
so even make it farther to make your at least lifeline or something like that stable. And
No,
that doesn't cost
no.
that
To be
much.
honest, so to
What
be,
do you do with the rest of it?
So to be 100% honest, I wouldn't want to give anything to my family, to like my offspring or anything, because I don't want them to feel comfortable with, I have money, so I don't have to
With
work
that
for
Well,
it.
you can set guidelines up.
Yeah,
But
so
you have to give it to the offspring.
No. So this is
necessarily.
what I would do. So like I would
No, I
probably,
mean, you don't
I'd
have
probably.
to, but-
Well, this is what I would do. If I had tomorrow, somebody was like, "Hey, you got $100 million." I'm like,
This
"Cool."
is so good.
If someone came knock on my door, Jeff Bezos was like, "Hey man, you talk funny. I'm gonna give you $100 million because you're entertaining." I'm like, "All right, cool, straight." This is verbatim what I would do. I would get a brand new Prius. I would get a 4-year-old Sequoia. I'd maybe get a 4-year-old Camry if I felt
But you can get the
if I felt like I needed a third car. I would pay off this house. I'll pay off my parents' house. I get a house for my mother-in-law, for my rock star brother-in-law, and maybe a couple other individuals who are struggling with some stuff that I feel like deserve it and really been struggling through it. For me personally, I would do so anonymously. I wouldn't let them know about it. But even with all that, that's still only $2 million. With the other $98 million, 33% of it I would put into investment, like stocks and investment. So then with dividend investment, so then what I'm making off of that, all right, that's gonna be able to maintain me and my lifestyle, and
you good with
that's all
100
of the
million
kids.
anyway.
Yeah.
If you don't
Well,
invest.
I'm just talking about like 32 million, like in the stock
You can set
market,
your
and
kids up, everybody
just
gonna
the
be-
dividends off of that. Then that's what we'll live off the dividends of that.
Okay.
And then
You conservative.
I still got some more to go. So another 32 million I'm gonna put into real estate, and the real estate is gonna be another form
That's
of
gonna
supplemental
generate
income. Where it's just like, what I would do with that is like I would buy out some places, and like I don't want to give everybody a place, but I'm gonna buy some places and I'll rent it out, dirt cheap, like enough to just make ends meet. So it's like, this ends meet is definitely enough.
Any ends meeting?
No. Just for the property. Stuff.
for that
Like let's say
property,
I buy a $250,000 house, and I just want to buy enough
for the property.
Yeah, they're just paying enough for it to be able to pay for the bills that come with the property, the taxes, with the escalating inflation rate, et cetera, et cetera. But so like it's self-sustaining. So I'm not trying to make a buck off of them. I'm not trying to maximize my money off of them, but I just want to make enough to sustain that project, and then be able to give them a safe place to live.
To produce the American dream.
Yeah.
I would say that's like
so like there's
reasonably
right. Like there's some individuals close to me that I would want to give them. I'll just give it to them flat out, and I wouldn't even tell them that it's mine, or that I did it. And there's some people like I'd like to develop a system where it's like, all right, well I'll let people. I'll get it. I'll let people rent it out, and it's like, hey, as long as you cover these basic whatever the projected expenses are, then that's what it is. And then the last 33% of what's left, I'll put into the projects that I want to do. Like the whole, I'll create a education system. I create a whole new school system. I create like teaching people about real history, about real perspective, about understanding things in context of what it was, not judging everybody in the past from where we
But
are.
you have to facilitate those ideas. You need facilities for people to come to.
Yeah.
And that way they can learn from it, because just with the money and you putting the ideas up, they're gonna be like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
They gotta come somewhere.
Right. And I want to do it in a self-sustaining system, so it's like I don't want to combat against the public education system. I don't want to combat against the private education system. So I'll just be like, all right, I'm just going to create a system of aftercare programs, morning care programs, and I'm going to touch on all this different shit. People are going to have a good time. They're going to be playing games. They're going to be entertained. But they're also going to learn about some real shit. And in a way that's going to elevate the game of the private school system, and it's going to elevate the game of the public school system. But even with all, and I haven't managed outside of myself, and I'll still be good. And so like that's what I would do. But I only think that way because of the experiences that I've had. There's a couple, I could have made like 2 or 3 different decisions in my life that I would have never come up to that conclusion. I would have never thought about shit like that. And then in which case I would have been like, I don't know what to do with all this fucking money.
Right.
I guess
To
I'll.
be honest,
Yeah.
that's what people do with that type of money.
Yeah.
Now, me, I've always felt, and one thing that stopped me from feeling this way is my art. I really have a love for art. I don't need shit. I don't need nothing other than my hobbies. I don't need money. Money is not a thing that you should strive for. It's something that's necessary.
Yeah.
It's a necessary for being somewhat comfortable, or at least getting as far, like actually surviving.
And do you know
fuck else
why?
that
Do you
actually
know why
matters?
your perception is that way?
Because you don't have nothing.
Person, I don't. It's
You
not
don't
just
have
that.
Because you never came from a place where money is everything.
And that's why they tell people,
Yeah.
and that's the
Yeah.
exact reason why
Right.
they tell people
Right.
it's best to come from nothing, because you see where it actually matters. Money doesn't mean shit.
Right.
If you really want to look forward to, there's billionaires even in Dubai,
But
people
everything
like that who
means
actually got to
everything.
the point they want, and they still killed themselves. Why? Because they realized money meant nothing. What you're looking for is a stability of love and happiness, and you find that through the journey. It's not really the feeling that you feel. It's called actual. It's called what is it? It's like,
Self-actualization.
not so. It's called work more so, or like love. Even love is not really a thing that you be in. It's more of a feeling. It's just something that is the byproduct of actually trying.
Yeah.
It takes actual trying to create the feeling of love, and that's how it feels to be happy. Money doesn't bring you happiness. Money just brings immediate gratification, which is the biggest issue with this world this day. Sex, money. Everybody wants to be immediately gratified. Like oh, I got this right now.
Is that
but
such a
after
bad
that
thing?
ends,
No,
yes,
no.
it's
No,
not.
I don't
not
think it's a bad
It's not a
thing.
bad thing. It's just the
I
fact that it's the person and the individual is not looking for what they're really trying to find. In my personal experience,
Yeah, I
They're
think
using that
I
as a coping
appreciate.
mechanism.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm like, I know for me personally, I know that I'm like literally, or I was literally three decisions away from living that kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
I could have
Just
easily
money.
just been like, all right, I'm all
Me
about
too.
the money, and I would have been straight. If I was a little bit more disciplined, if I was a little bit less honest, and I was a little bit
It
more
could've been really fucked
ambitious, I could have had a lot more than I have now. But
I mean, in a good way.
yeah, no. I mean, no. I mean, in a financially beneficial way. But even if I would have financially
How would that
benefited from
would've
that,
weighed on you?
I would.
What's the
I know
sacrifice?
for absolute certainty
What's the
that
sacrifice
I
for
would.
it?
I would not have thought the way that I do right now
Right.
about having $100 million.
And which one do you feel more comfortable about?
100% right here, right now.
Okay.
100%. No regrets.
And you said comfortable,
100%.
right?
Yeah.
And well, how do you feel? That's what I'm saying. It depends on the individual.
Yeah.
That's why it depends on the individual. Like,
Yes, it does.
And everyone's different. Not to say some people are better than others, but just to say, acknowledge that
it's
everyone's
never better
different.
than one. I've been hearing like podcasts where they've been talking about stuff like racist. There's racist people and people who are not racist who can actually get together, disagree
Well,
with something.
everybody,
Yeah, they can have their
everybody
own
is
perspective.
racist to a degree.
And that's the
Okay.
thing. And that's where it's like
We
you
all
can
have different
understand.
backgrounds.
The biggest
walks
thing
of life.
about humans I realize is that they don't know how to disagree. You can disagree, but you can still be cool with the way that
Yes,
stuff works.
yeah.
And that's the
absolutely
way that it's like
Yeah, because that's I think at one point we used to be like, oh, I think this way, and the other person's like, I think that way, and you're like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, right. You just would dismiss him like that? Like, no, that's
he has his own
ridiculous.
ideologies,
we
but guess
say
what? That one person
but then-
is the one that helps you in everything in your life, even though he doesn't have it.
Yes.
But then we think about things that way, and we look at that like, wow, that was messed up. But then at the end of the day, they'll be like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Anyways, hey, what do you want to eat for dinner tonight? Because I'm inviting you over and your wife and your family. Nowadays, if you think differently than me, you can't even date me.
No, not even that. No, if you don't agree with me, you're a problem. You're chastised. You don't deserve.
You are
to
the
even be
reason
here.
why
you're
evil
a piece of
exists.
shit.
You are a piece of
That's
shit.
what it is these days. Like,
You are Satan in
shit.
You're the embodiment of.
And guess what they call that? Cancel culture. It's that cancel culture shit.
Sometimes, not from everybody, but
Not everybody, yeah, but it's that cancel culture that I don't like. It's everything. If you don't agree with me, then you're not right. It's like nah.
And going back to
And that goes back. I was gonna say that goes back to the whole point of Dave Chappelle and comedy.
reading my mind and shit, yo.
Because guess what?
They want to take him off Netflix. Did they take him off?
No, they did not.
But the best part is about this comedy special. He's been saying that, and I watched all of them, Sticks and Stones, all that before this comedy special. He said the same thing all these times. Why did they get this angry this time?
Maybe.
Why do you know?
He literally said he's best. One of his best friends is trans.
That too.
Or whatever. He's showing love to him, but why the fuck can't he make a joke?
No, and guess what? In the last one, Sticks and Stones, he even said that if I make jokes about you, it's because I feel the same way, that I feel that I have a part of me in you. He said, I feel y'all insecurity, but they can't accept that. The reason why they can't accept it because it's their own insecurities. It's something that they can't deal with that they project on other people. You know, like 70% of transsexuals actually commit suicide after transition. You know why? Because it wasn't the other world. It was you. It was the issue with yourself. That's how it works. It's like they keep trying to project on other people.
Right.
Yourself.
How dare you not understand their experience? And you know,
we about to pack.
yeah, man, it's all good. But man, if you want to stash, you can, man.
Okay.
Because it's late. You've been drinking. Like we have the space. No reason to stress, man.
This is my with this particular situation.
I'm too drunk for this shit. My child.
No. Yo, being drunk is exactly where you need to be. Sit your ass down. Let's talk
This
about
is what I've been learning. Just let it flow. You just let it flow.
I'm shocked. Well, when I was drunk, I expressed more of myself than me not being drunk.
100%.
Like me a little.
Yo, I spent 2 hours with you in the car silent.
I'm drunk. It's not even coming out like it's scary or nothing. Like I'm using full fucking words and like
your inhibitions are gone, so you're just like on the flow.
Modern generation. Why is people so sensitive?
That's what I'm saying, bro. That shit was funny. A nigga had a whip. It was like this metal whip, and it had like electric zap at it. That shit was funny. He said the white person. He said
you can't really enjoy.
He started picking it, and then everybody started commenting like, "Damn, we can't even joke like this no more because of generation." I'm like, I'm shocked. Cause like back inside 2017 and shit, bro, niggas was making offensive ass jokes, and that shit was funny as hell.
Tell me the funniest movie that you've seen in the last 3 years. That came
Probably a racist movie.
That came out in the last 3 years.
A racist ass movie. He was like, you want to drink? Listen, look, he said you want a Corona. The nigga was Mexican. He said you want to
look up Haunted House. Look it up right now. Tell me what year it came out at.
You want to know my favorite movie?
I saw that
Hateful Eight.
The Hateful Eight.
There's a nigger in the shit.
Bro, I'm telling you, the Haunted House has way more
qualms
that
about
shit was
the
funny because
N-word,
like the Mexican nigga said, now that boy said, you want a Corona? He said, so what you think since I'm Mexican I want a Corona? He said, let me guess, that shit gonna have a fucking worm at the bottom. He said, well yeah. This shit was funny. It was like, he was Mexican everything. He didn't even ask if he wanted nothing else. He said, you want a Corona? This shit was funny because he had every time I had to drink where he just asked, do you want a Corona?
Yeah.
Shit had a worm at the bottom. He asked, did you want some tequila? That's the one that has the worm at the bottom. He said, you want some tequila? He was like, I got something to drink. That shit was funny. He was like, no, well, you got me frustrated now. Let me get some tequila. Because he was like, you think since I'm fucking Mexican, I'm going to drink fucking tequila?
Yeah, I guess I will.
Give me a drink now.
I feel like he was watching Aqua Puppets. That was the thing where because this dude Diego with Aqua Puppets, he drinks tequila and like he has these videos where some people will be like, oh, you want to drink tequila because you're Mexican? He's like, no, I just like tequila. He didn't go through. It's this whole Diego thing. He is like, no matter what he says, it's always tequila. Like,
Go to what?
What? I'm not going to war with you because if we really go to war, I'm gonna throw your head through a wall.
Jesus.
No, bro, you gotta go, man.
That's what war is war. You doing whatever you need to do to survive.
There it is.
You better learn the difference between war and just play
You
fighting.
got different ones.
War and not fighting isn't the same thing.
That's what I'm saying. War and play fighting is two different things.
I said
War
the
is where I
same.
kill you.
No, I said that wrong.
Play
No,
fighting is when I play
I said that
fighting.
all the way wrong. War. What is it? No, peace.
I don't feel
Peace
like
and not
it.
fighting are
I
different
don't
things.
feel like it.
Are not the same thing.
No,
I'm going forward.
They're different things.
no.
I mean, technically, if you want to be, they are
Go
different
fight the
things,
wall,
but some
bruh.
people can take peace for also fighting. So, like, you can.
Oh, you gonna pay me $20?
mentality. Yes,
Some people think, oh, well, I'm not throwing blows at you, so like we're good. Like that's not necessarily right.
That's. Oh my God, you gotta watch Invincible.
Okay. I know I do. Oh man.
Because it's the beginning. Because you would think. It's
Don't tell me.
I'm gonna say it's the same. You would think it's the same. You're gonna get what I mean. That's all I'm saying. Because you watch comics, you're gonna think it's the same. And then it's gonna hit you like, dang, you really could do this if you were him. It's like, and you realize.
Yeah, that's what's scary when I watch The Boys, and I think they're very much the same. I think Invincible might be better because it's animated and it's an actual comic. I think actually no, The Bear's an actual comic, but I think you can get a lot more away with a lot more in animation.
That's what it is.
Yeah, so
Have you ever heard of something called Blood Sea? Tyrell was trying to make me watch this. It's called Blood Sea. It's an anime. It's an anime about like it's an anthology where it has different stories that's be told. And he showed me one with like this thing with the jelly. It's this tree that lives in the jungle. And it has this thing called the nectar, and people like kind of take the nectar and they came back to back to America. So they drink the nectar, and what happens is anytime you drink the nectar, you explode. And this is an anime, a Japanese complete anime. It's called Blood Sea. And it's wild because it turns out the tree from the jungle is actually crushing the people that's drinking the nectar from its body. So it's a whole thing that goes into it.
thank you. She's making the freaking out. Oh yeah, man. Thank you. Yeah, hey man, if you go 15 miles down the way, you're like, yeah, you know what? No, I'm trying to for sure. But yeah, man, this is a good talk. We need to do this more often, man. Yes.
Say whatever I want to say. I want every peace, everybody. I love you. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And stay dangerous.
That's it, bro.